get the car to turn, but it won't happen. The car will back up, but he cannot turn the car and move it ahead to clear Ernie Irvin.
That's just the way it goes sometimes. Everybody at Robert Yates Racing deserves a lot better than this. And, you know, they deserve to win that championship this year. And the fans have been great. It just wasn't meant to be.
Bill Elliott comes off the fourth corner. He wins the Hooters 500. But Alan Kowicki is coming off of corner number 4, knowing that he's winning the championship. There's the checkered flag for Alan. He's the champion for 92.
I'm sure Kowicki's going to do something spectacular. Let's see.
Remember his first win at Phoenix? He took what he called, and these are his words, a Polish victory lap.
Yep.
And guess what? He's going to do it again.
This truly is a dream come true. I hope that in the year to come I will be a good representative. I hope that when 1993 is over that people at Winston, the people at NASCAR, and the competitors all look back and say, we were proud to have him represent us as our champion.
A year ago today, King Richard Petty retired with 7 NASCAR Winston Cup championships. Insurmountable? Maybe not.
I think I came along at the right time. I don't know if anybody will ever come along with the circumstances as good as what Richard Petty did. To me, he's a true champion because he wins championships by racing for championships. He doesn't stroke around to try to make points and stuff. He goes out there and wins the races. And to be a true champion, I think he's supposed to win races. So, you know, if anybody has to do it, then I wouldn't mind seeing Dale do it.
When you started out in racing, you start out trying to get somewhere, try to win. First of all, get in racing. Second of all, try to win. To win one championship was impressive. To have now won 5 is really impressive, but it's put us close enough to the mark where it's possible to win 7 championships in our career. Now we're looking at a goal of 7 championships.
Dale Earnhardt, employing his aggressive driving style, is on the threshold of his 6th title in only his 15th full year of competition. Since his rookie year of '79, he has won 53 races on the short tracks and on super speedways. The Dominator has earned his nickname well. In a season in which the man in black has been no lower than 2nd in points, Earnhardt can accomplish today what no one other than the King has ever done.
The way I figured you go to Atlanta, finish about 30th or better, you're number 6.
I want to win the race.
Huh?
I want to win the race at Atlanta.
And the pole?
ESPN, the world's leader in motorsport coverage, welcomes you to Atlanta Motor Speedway in Triple Championship Weekend. The final race of the '93 season, the Hooters 500. It is cloudy about 20 miles south of Atlanta here at the racetrack, but the forecast is for no rain. Hi, everyone. I'm Bob Jenkins. In about 4 hours' time, we'll know who the champion is for the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup season. The point standings will show you that Dale Earnhardt has a 126-point lead on Rusty Wallace. Kyle Petty is looming just outside of the top 5, and with a good finish today, could move as high as 4th. But it is not over yet. Dale Earnhardt can wrap up the title with a 34th or better place finish, but remember, last year he finished last in 3 different races. And it's not over because remember what happened here at the race last year. Just as the cars came across the line to complete lap number 1, there was trouble, triggered by those starting in the front row, Rick Mast and Brett Bodine. There was a huge melee down in turn number 1. Several cars were involved. And for 2 of the drivers, the race was over, including Bodine. Since practice began here on Friday, we've seen several in the wall. Ken Schrader crashed on his qualifying attempt, and he had to go to his backup car. Jeff Gordon's accident in practice destroyed his primary car, and he too was forced to a backup. Even Earnhardt himself started off his championship quest with a meeting of the second turn wall. He got out of the car under his own power and limped to the ambulance. But after a checkup in the infield care center, Dale let us know that he was unhurt and undaunted in his championship quest. I guess you could say so far his weekend has been a tale of two cars. For more on that, here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Thank you, Bob. Actually, it could be called a tale of three cars. You know, Dale's dad, Ralph Earnhardt, couldn't be here to see his son be so successful, so it's seemingly appropriate that an associate sponsor by the name of Mom and Pops would pay the freight for a third race car to be here in Atlanta. Neil Bonnet has an identical Chevrolet Lumina starting back in 35th spot. Why? If this car doesn't crank, Dale will jump out of this car, run back and jump into that one that's been set up for him, and try to win a championship. Now let's talk to the possible six-time champion. And Dale, it's a 126-point margin. How do you play it today?
Well, you'd probably look on the safe side to start with, but once the mathematics will work out, we want to try to go up here and win this race. I feel like the car's good enough too, and you know, the manufacturer's cuts on the line. We'd like to do that for Chevrolet, but most would like to win that championship with Goodwrench and our race team.
A lot of concern about the slick racing surface and some of the sealer that's been put down?
A whole lot on my part anyway. We done lost one car, so we'll be okay.
Well, they're planning for Richard Childress' team to have anything happen, they will be able to fix it. At least they hope so. For more, here's our John Kernan.
Well, the Richard Childress racing team has left no stone unturned in their search for that $1 million championship. They brought a truck down with every conceivable spare part you might need to rebuild a race car. Now, also, let's say if Earnhardt would back it into the wall, they've got a frame machine. They can straighten out the frame just as good as new and do it pretty quickly. Now, a list of the inventory of the parts, they've got a new front and rear clip. They've got a fuel cell. They've also got a completely assembled rear end that they can put into the race car if they should have a problem. I guess you could say that they've thought of absolutely everything because, yes, they've even thrown in the kitchen sink.
And Rusty Wallace has thrown about everything except the kitchen sink at Dale Earnhardt's team to try to beat him for the championship. Rusty, you start right beside him today in 20th spot. How do you challenge today's race?
Well, I just got to run as hard as I possibly could. The track wasn't in real good shape when we qualified, and I drove pretty timid. That's the reason we're starting this far back. But the car's running strong. I believe I got a car that can win this race. And so, you know, I'm going to have to run hard, and I think Dale will probably take it easy a little bit until some more cars fall out until he feels like he's got the thing locked up. But my game is run as hard as I can, hope he has some problems real early, and just do everything I can. And if I come up short, hey, I can still say I had a great year because I'm just thankful for what all the fans have done for me this year, sticking behind us, and it's been a great year. A couple tragedies, and it's terrible, but I'm looking forward to run this last race and trying to win this thing for everybody.
And if he would win it, it would be his 10th win in 1993. But there's more at stake here besides the Winston Cup Championship. A lot else up for grabs. For more, here is Ned and Benny.
You're right, Jerry. There is a lot more up for grabs. There are a lot of drivers who are trying to get higher in the point standings or either preserve the position that they have going into this race because there's a lot of money at stake in the different positions in the point standings.
And not only money, points positions, but careers are on the line today. Let's look at the 12 car. Jimmy Spencer qualified 5th. Spencer's moving on to a good ride. The 12 car does not have a driver or a sponsor. If they could win the race, maybe they could pick up both a driver and a sponsor. Bobby Hamilton qualified 6th today. And this guy doesn't even have a ride in 1994. If he could win today or run well, maybe he could pick up one of the rides that's available. Maybe even the 12 car. How about Jeff Bodine? He qualified 11th in the car he bought from Alan Kawicki. He still hasn't a sponsor for 1994. Jeff Bodine really needs to run well. Let's go back to Jimmy Horton. He qualified 14th. And Horton's been looking for a sponsor for about a year and a half now. Maybe a good run today would mean a sponsor for Horton. And how about Rick Wilson? He qualified 36th. He's leaving the STP Pontiac, has nothing, is looking for a ride. Maybe a win today or a good run can get him a ride for 1994.
And one other thing, we're talking about those point standings, getting on the stage at the awards banquet in New York in a couple of weeks. Only the top 10 in the point standings get to go up on stage. And believe you me, that means a lot to a lot of drivers. So there's a lot of them that are fighting to get into the top 10. Now, Bob, there's one guy starting way back in the field, Mark Martin, back in 32nd position. I think he's going to make some excitement for us early in this race.
We'll certainly watch for him, and he will carry one of our in-car cameras. For the 30th and final time of 93, the command has been given. The engines have fired. In a moment, we'll be ready. ESPN Speed World is being brought to you by Hooters Restaurants, always delightfully tacky yet unrefined. By Haviland Formula 3 Motor Oil, add more life to your car. And by AC Delco Automotive Parts. AC Delco, it's like buying time. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway near Hampton, Georgia, about 20 miles south of Atlanta. And the Bud 1 airship, which has used its eye-in-the-sky camera at more than 50 events, traveling throughout the country, will be providing the overhead shots for us today. The cars are running, and they will be pulling away in just a few moments. But right now, let's take a look at the track that they will be competing on here this afternoon. It is a 1.522-mile oval. The pole speed was 176.902. Time, 30.973 seconds. We'll go 328 laps in the field separated by just about 5 miles per hour. Well, there's a look at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and the pits are located only on the front stretch here. The turns 1 and 2 are banked at 24 degrees. The backstretch is banked at only 5 degrees. The length of the backstretch is 1,320 feet. Similarly, back in turns number 3 and 4, the banking is also there at 24 degrees. And the front stretch banked at 5 degrees and 1,320 feet, but there's a lot of turn in this racetrack, Benny.
Yeah, 1,320 feet. The straightaways, the turns, that means they're 2,640 feet because they're exactly twice as long as the straightaways. The turns a half mile long and the straightaways 1/4 mile long. So a very physical racetrack for the drivers here today.
A record crowd is on hand here for this wrap-up of the 93 season, and now the cars begin to pull away. There are 42 starters in this event. Look at the crowd that's gathered here. They've built more stands since we were here last, and each and every seat is filled as we watch to find out who will win not only this race, but the Winston Cup Championship for 1993. And the balloons have been released from the infield, or are being released. Orange and white, the colors of Hooters, the sponsor of this race, and a beautiful sight as we get the shot from Bud 1 airship as they fly high overhead Atlanta Motor Speedway.
One of the concerns that they had that the 3-car might not fire, well, let me tell you, it did start. Earnhardt is on his way.
Here's the starting lineup for today's Hooters 500. The pole sitter is Harry Gant, his first pole since September of 1991 in North Wilkesboro. And on the outside of that front row will be Brett Bodine from Chemung, New York. That's exactly where he started last year in the Quaker State Ford. Row number 2 is Rick Mast. He was a pole sitter last year in the Skull Classic Racing Ford car number 1. Outside the second row, his best start, Ted Musgrave from Franklin, Wisconsin in the Jasper Engines US Air Ford car 55. The third row, Jimmy Spencer in the Meineke Ford car number 12. And outside, Bobby Hamilton from Nashville, Tennessee in the Fenaloop Ford car number 20. The fourth row, the Texaco Haviland Ford car number 28, driven by Ernie Elliott. And outside will be Bill Elliott from Dawsonville, Georgia in the Budweiser Ford car number 11. The fifth row, great start for Rich Bickle from Edgerton, Wisconsin in the Bullseye Ford car 45. To his outside will be Jackson, Mississippi's Lake Speed driving the Motorcraft Ford car number 15 with a new paint job. The sixth row, Jeff Bodine from Chemung, New York in the Family Channel Ford number 7. And then the Heilig Myers Ford car number 90 driven by Bobby Hillen from Midland, Texas. Seventh row has Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet. He's from Chesapeake, Virginia. And Jimmy Horton in the Wheels Race Car Chevrolet car 32. The eighth row, Jeff Gordon in 24 and Morgan Shepherd in 21. The ninth row, Jimmy Hensley in car number 4 and Dick Trickle in 41. 10th row, there are the two championship contenders, Dale Earnhardt on the inside and Rusty Wallace on the outside.
And Ken Schrader wrecked in practice. Of course, he was the fastest qualifier the second day, so he'll start 21st. Phil Parsons taking over for Todd Bodine, who wrecked yesterday in the Busch race here and not feeling too well today. But Benny, some good cars starting back in the pack.
Some tremendous cars. When we get on, as you see, we go through the lineup, you'll see a lot of cars. Michael Waltrip, Bobby Labonte, Dale Jarrett, Terry Labonte in 15th, 16th row. Look at Neil Bonnet, Rick Wilson back in the 18th. Mark Martin in row 17 and Sterling Marlin. There we see Dallenbach, row 19, along with Dave Marcus, T.W. Taylor in row 20, Kenny Wallace, and look, the provisional, Kyle Petty and Hud Strickland. So great race cars all the way through the field.
Weather has already played a part in the strategy. Here's Jerry Punch.
Exactly, Bob. I'm in Darrell Waltrip's pit. Now, Barry Dodson is the crew chief, but you notice anything different about their pits here? Look behind me. There's no crew here. In fact, just Stevie Waltrip, Darrell's wife, on top of the box because the crew has not been able to land because of fog at the airport. And Barry just asked Stevie, do you want to change the inside or the outside tires? But seriously, they have a problem. The spotter for the 5 cars in here, Jack Roush, has 16 guys missing right now. Rusty Wallace's crew just got here about 4 minutes ago. We are told Bill Elliott's Junior Johnson team is missing 4 guys. The catch can man for Dale Jarrett, and on and on. The weather has already been a major factor here as we get ready to go to green.
It was very foggy earlier this morning, but the fog has burned off a little bit as we get set to race in one more lap. We have a lot of in-car cameras that will be working today. Jimmy Hensley will carry one in the number 4 car. Looking out the side of that car up to the cars in front of him. Here's Mark Martin, who, as Ned indicated, will be way back in the field for the start. We'll be watching him and his telemetry throughout the afternoon. There is Jeff Bodine, who will also carry one of the in-car cameras, sponsored by Orkin. Their car, driven by P.J. Jones, did not make the race, so the Orkin people have moved the in-car camera to Jeff Bodine's machine. Here's a number 15 car that will be driven by Lake Speed, and we also will have telemetry with that car. We've got a lot of in-car cameras to show you all the action. We'll take a quick break and be right back with the start of the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Stay with us. We're just about to get the green flag on the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. ESPN Speed World coverage live this afternoon. The fog is beginning to burn off. Some of the crews are beginning to arrive. There are the 2 championship contenders that we will determine a champion in about 4 hours' time. Dale Earnhardt or Rusty Wallace, they start side by side. The pace car is off of the track. The field comes out of corner number 4. And for the last time this year, the green is out. We are underway.
Position alongside Dick Trickle. He's got the 68 car of Greg Sutton between he and Rusty Wallace.
And Earnhardt trying to pick up another position. To his right now is the 4 car driven by Jimmy Hensley, and the second lap is about to be completed now. Earnhardt will make it 3 wide at the starting line. Jimmy Horton is the man in the middle. Let's see what happens as they go to 1. He got it. Wow.
The man can't stand it. He's got to race. He's got to race somebody. Oh, yeah. That's just his nature. He's just got to go. And that car is good. He said it was good, and apparently it is.
This is the backup car. He wrecked the primary car during practice. In fact, just a few minutes after practice began on Friday, he's passed another car, Jeff Bodine.
Look at Jeff Bodine stall that steering wheel, trying to keep the back end under the car all the way through the corner.
The leader of the race is Harry Gant. Rick Mast running second, then Ted Musgrave, Jimmy Spencer, and Ernie Irvin.
We see Earnhardt underneath Rich Bickle. That's Bickle on the outside. Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Gordon right directly in front.
Boy, Earnhardt is moving fast. Now he comes up on Morgan Shepherd in 21 and Jeff Gordon in 24. Looking back on Earnhardt from Morgan Shepherd's Citgo Ford.
Oh, man. Did he say he was going to take it easy? Didn't I think? I thought I heard him say he was going to take it easy.
Yes, that's his version of taking it easy.
Here's Jerry Punch on pit road at Earnhardt's pit.
I talked to the engine builder for Richard Childress, Danny Lawrence. He said, you know, ordinarily when you're trying to win a championship, you back down on the timing, run a little Richard Jets, and put a different gear in the car to make the car run conservative. But we said, hey, Dale said he would take care of the car, wouldn't run many RPM, so we went ahead and put the regular gear, the regular timing, and we set it up to win the race here. Dale said he would look after the car early on. Well, apparently, he's looking after it quite nicely. Let's check in with John Turner.
Jerry, another Childress car that was piloted by Neil Bonnet. He's pulled it into the garage area. They've run a few laps. They're going to sit it down in the garage area. It will have some parts on it just in case they run into trouble that they could potentially switch. So, in order to help a fellow Chevrolet team, we told you Darrell Waltrip's crew is having problems getting here. Dale Earnhardt, Busch Grand National crew, Tony Uri and the gang, we're going to pit for Bonnet today. They have come into the Western Auto pit, and they will be doing the pit stop. Now, Barry Dodson, the crew chief for Darrell Waltrip, who normally runs the jack, is going to stand on the sidelines this afternoon and watch this team pit the car because he doesn't want to upset their rhythm. Let's go back down pit road to Jerry Punch.
And John, that 31 car that's now in the garage area is set up not for Neil Bonnet, but for Dale Earnhardt. It has the springs, the shocks. It has Earnhardt set up. That's why Bonnet didn't qualify that well. The car is set up exactly how Dale wants it. So if he just pull the car apart, he'll have to change nothing at all except put it on the primary car.
Dale Earnhardt has moved to 11th. Now he challenges Brett Bodine for 10th position. Rusty Wallace is back in 20th, where he began this race.
And there's the leaders. There's Ernie Irvin, who's fought his way up to 3rd spot already.
Ted Musgrave with a great run in the car number 55, challenging Irvin down on the inside, trying to take over 3rd position.
Ernie has just passed Musgrave the lap before. Now Musgrave comes back.
They are wheel to wheel into turn 1. This is the battle for 3rd spot.
A little bit of contact between those two, I think.
Musgrave the advantage now on the inside, and that's Jimmy Spencer right behind them.
Of course, Harry Gant is the leader, and Rick Mast is in 2nd place. The Skoll car's out front. Here's Spencer now trying to move up on the outside of Musgrave.
This becomes the battle for 4th position now. Jimmy Spencer and Ted Musgrave.
Bob, I think some of them were perhaps a little apprehensive about the 2nd groove here and moving up there. However, there have been 2 races here, the ARCA race on Friday and the Busch race yesterday, which has helped to work in another groove, but still they were a little concerned about getting up in that 2nd groove, but not Jimmy Spencer. He drove right on up there and went around.
Both of our 2 previous races here on Triple Championship Weekend have been filled with accidents, ARCA and BGN. Let's hope it isn't that way today. Here is Wallace, now trying to move to the inside of Bobby Hamilton. Just ahead is Jeff Bodine as Rusty picks up 1 spot.
Looking back out of the back of Jeff Bodine's Orkin Family Channel car at Rusty Wallace. Another genuine draft Pontiac. Will we be able to say that next year? Oh, look at how he comes off that corner, does Rusty.
Got a good run off the corner, moves on the inside of Jeff Bodine and takes that position
with ease.
So now Rusty begins to pick off the positions in front of him as Harry Gant continues to lead. Mast 2nd, Irvin 3rd, Spencer 4th.
Bill Elliott is in 5th.
Ted Musgrave in 6th position. We're riding with Jeff Bodine. Here's Michael Waltrip trying to take the position away from Jeff Bodine at the end of the backstretch. He's got him.
And Jeff Bodine, this is a backup car that Jeff Bodine is driving. He crashed his primary car yesterday in practice, tore it up, had to go to a backup.
Michael Waltrip has picked up about 10 or 12 positions since he started. And here's Rusty making another pass. Makes it look easy. Moves on the inside of Jimmy Hensley in the Kodak car. Moves right on around. I think Rusty might have been taking it easy there for a little bit till the cars got strung out a little bit, got the feel of the car, and he can't afford to stay back too long, but he also needs to have that car running all day if he has any chance at winning the championship.
All right, here's Jerry Punch.
We mentioned Jeff Bodine wrecked his Ford Thunderbird yesterday. They rolled the backup car out to try to use it in today's race, but decided they would stay until 8:30 last night and fix the primary car. So this morning they made a decision to race the primary car. They had to fix the left front side, the front clip, the left side suspension, the entire left side sheet metal. But this is the same car. Unbelievably, it's the same car he smacked the wall with about 5 o'clock yesterday afternoon.
Wow, they told me last night you wiped the car out. What a great job the crew did in fixing that thing.
Rusty Wallace has moved to 15th, but ahead of him is the potential champion for 93, Dale Earnhardt, who has passed Jeff Gordon now. Up front, it continues to be Harry Gant, the leader of the race, who has a rather comfortable lead at the moment over Rick Mast, who is running in second spot.
The Jackson brothers must be delighted. This is Leo Jackson's car leading, and Richard Jackson, his brother, his car is running second.
Here comes Ernie Irvin in third, and in the battle for fourth position, Bill Elliott beginning to show some muscle. He, of course, is the defending champion of this event and missed the championship by inches last year in that great and historic race with Alan Kulwicki. We've been green all the way for the first 15 laps.
As we watch this, let me just tell you that Jeff Gordon just passed Dale Earnhardt, so
Earnhardt has lost a position after picking off several. It's Gant, Rick Mast, Ernie Irvin, Bill Elliott, and Jimmy Spencer in the top 5 at the moment. There is the leader coming out of turn 2. There he is, going down the backstretch. Handsome Harry Gant is the leader of the Hooters 500. We'll be back with more live coverage from Atlanta Motor Speedway in a moment. Harry Gant leads the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway after 19 of 328 laps. Second place belongs to Rick Mast. There's Rick.
oh, crash up in turn 3, 4.
It was right in front of Rusty Wallace. Brett Bodine is involved, and so is Bobby Hillen. Hillen is trying to keep the car rolling. He slid to the inside of the racetrack, has made it to the apron, but the car is stopped.
It's hurt. That right rear tire is not supposed to be jammed back at the back of the quarter panel. It's supposed to have an equidistant opening between the front and the rear.
Let's see what happened. It happened just ahead of Rusty.
Yeah, he's coming up as Bobby Hillen tries to go on the inside of Brett Bodine, and they touch. And boy, Rusty really has to get on the binders, cuts it down to the inside of the racetrack, and dodges disaster there.
Wow.
Tough break for Brett Bodine and Bobby Hillen.
Yeah, for the second year in a row, a tough break for Brett Bodine, who was wiped out in the crash on the second lap last year, and now this.
Watch, Rusty Wallace just goes down on the apron, and the 90 and 26 both make heavy contact with the wall.
But there were no other cars involved except the two, and Brett is walking away from the car there on the far left of your screen. He appears to be okay, but obviously very disappointed.
Now, if these cars can't be repaired and get back in the race, this is working to Dale Earnhardt's favor. The more cars that fall out of the race, it's going to put him that much closer to locking up the championship.
He needs to finish 34th or better, and 42 cars began this race. We are under caution for the first time this afternoon on lap number 21.
And if Rusty Wallace does not lead the most laps, does not win the race, then that moves Earnhardt up to about the 37th, 38th spot they'd have to finish. And already, if these two cars stay out, that's 3 cars that have fallen out. So the worst he could finish right now would be 39th. So
it's working in his favor.
Yes, it
right
is.
now.
Pit stops are going to be happening here as the field flanks off from the pace car. Just about everybody, it seems, is going to be coming in for a stop.
When you say everybody, Rick Corelli's not going to come in because he's a lap down. He can't come in legally.
And Dale Jarrett is not going to come in.
He's probably going to stay out there and lead a lap. And he'll have to go probably the next time around. Yes, he will. But he's probably going to do that just to lead a lap. He was back pretty far in the field anyway.
Triple split. It's Gant on the top, Rusty in the middle, and Dale on the bottom. We're timing each of their pit stops as the crews work on the respective cars. Already on the left side of Harry Gant and Rusty Wallace, and now they're on the left of Dale Earnhardt's car. Gant is rolling in 19.2. Rusty took a second less, and Earnhardt just slightly slower than Rusty Wallace, but good pit stops for all three.
There we see Bill Elliott's going to come out in second. Ricky Rudd is third. Jeff Gordon fourth. Rick Mast fifth. Jimmy Spencer sixth. Morgan Shepherd seventh. Ernie Irvin eighth. And Dale Earnhardt Earnhardt is going to come out 9th. Rusty Wallace, 10th. So that crew picked up a great deal of time on pit road, the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac crew.
And the rescue crew is at Brett Bodine's car. The rollback is there, and they're going to have to put it on the flatbed to get it away. Here's Jerry Punch with a report on Ernie Irvan.
Well, one of the reasons they were dropping back just before the caution came out is the car had gotten very, very loose. Just suddenly, the car just jumped loose. The car started the first few laps just fine, according to Ernie, but got very difficult to handle in the corners. They were hoping and praying for an early yellow, and they got their wish. They came down pit road. Larry McReynolds and the crew tightened the car up. That's what cost them an extra 4 or 5 seconds in the pit stop and put them back toward the back of the top 10, or else they might have been out in the top 5.
So Ernie Irvan makes the pit stop and rejoins the race, but we are under caution because of an accident involving Brett Bodine and Bobby Hillin in the Hooters 500. We'll be right back. Our eye in the sky today is the Bud 1 airship with camera operator George Shaftsma, hovering about 1,000 feet over the racetrack. This Ambassador is powered by twin Porsche 930 engines, piloted by captains Tony Stevenson and Bill Clark. And you can see there's a little bit of break in the clouds now, as looks like the sun may be out soon. Well, here's a look at Lake Speed as he is under caution and sort of relaxing a little bit while the cleanup continues over the 3rd and 4th turns, and now Dale Jarrett has come in.
And they stayed out there for 2 reasons, Bob. One is to lead a lap to get 5 bonus points, trying to stay in 4th place in the Winston Cup point standing. They needed to take a rubber out of the right front spring, or either put one in. I'm not sure which they were doing. They knew it was going to take them a long time to do that. It's going to go to the back anyway. So pretty good strategy on Jimmy Makar's part there to do that. They got those 5 bonus points, so could help them stay in 4th place in the points.
Yep, he's in a tight battle with Morgan Shepherd. Kyle Petty is right there also, but Dale Jarrett rolls back out into competition. There is Earnhardt, and Wallace is just behind him. They will be nose to tail when the green flag comes out to resume this event in just a few moments. 24 laps have been completed, the top 5. Harry Gant, Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, Jeff Gordon, and Rick Mast. Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Hooters 500, ESPN Speed World live coverage of the final Winston Cup race of '93, and the green flag comes out to resume competition. And at the front, as he has been just about all race long, Harry Gant. And Earnhardt and Wallace are nose to tail for the resumption of activity.
But this time, instead of 19th and 20th, they're 9th and 10th. They were 19th and 20th at the beginning of the race.
Brett Bodine was one of the 2 cars involved in that incident, and John Kernan is with him.
Well, thankfully, Brett, you look to be okay. I know a lot of concern about that wrist. You just got the contraption, as Vinny liked to call it, off last week or so. How are you?
I'm okay. Just real confused on what happened over there. My car had been pushing real bad. That's why I was driving back through the field, and I just wouldn't turn in the middle of the corner. And I saw Bobby and Rusty running side by side, so I just backed off a little early to let him get in there. And next thing I know, I was turning around backwards. Cars are really unstable with these new spoiler rules, and I just don't think it's the right way to go.
We have a crash
we'll be
here.
back next year.
Jeff Bodine. Now Jeff Bodine is involved in a crash along with Schrader and Spencer.
And back farther in the pack, Jimmy Horton has spun down to the inside.
Boy, it has been a tough weekend for the Bodines. Jeff crashed yesterday. Now he's involved in a crash today. Todd was injured yesterday. Brett has crashed today. And boy, oh boy, it looks like that Jeff is going to unstrap himself and get out of the car under his own power.
He's disconnecting his radio right now.
Schrader is going to drive away, and so will Spencer, and Jimmy Horton is also moving. So it appears as if the only car that will suffer perhaps terminal damage is Jeff Bodine. Here is the replay.
Rusty Wallace is under the 12 car of Jimmy Spencer, and Jimmy gets just a little bit high, gets the car out of shape, loses control, comes around right in front of these guys. There's nothing that, looking for Jeff Bodine, there's nothing he can do. Michael Waltrip was blessed to get through that hole before he closed. Now as he come back across, Trickle does a great job, just kind of slow, and and wait until the hole opened up to go through it, as does Jimmy Hensley and all the other guys.
Jeff Bodine has got to be reconsidering his decision to be a car owner. This is the 4th crash in the last 7 races he has had as owner of this team.
And again, he was doing nothing wrong today, just riding along.
Wasn't his fault. Now watch Spencer slide up the racetrack and hit the wall.
This is from our speed shot right at the start-finish line.
There were a lot of drivers that were very heads up there getting their cars slowed down so they could get them under control.
Jeff's walking away. He'll make the mandatory visit to the infield care center just to check him over, but he appears to be in fine shape.
Well, another tough break for him, another good break for Dale Earnhardt as these cars go to the garage.
And now from the in-car camera, watch and listen.
I think he could do.
A living nightmare. At least for me it is. I can't imagine being involved in one of those crashes.
Similar situation to Davey Allison last year. Just nowhere to go. Nothing he could do about it. He was just a victim of circumstances.
And pinned again the outside wall, just about where Davey was pinned last year by Ernie Irvin. Boy, the Bodines again with a tough weekend. The most injured of the 3, Todd Bodine, and Dr. Punch has an update. Doc?
Well, we all saw Todd yesterday hit the wall a ton up in turns 3 and 4. Now, he was taken to Georgia Baptist Hospital in downtown Atlanta, where he spent the night. His injuries, he has a fracture involving the outside of his hand, what they call the 5th metacarpal, the bone leading up to his little finger and the outside of his hand. We thought he may have a broken shoulder. That x-ray was negative. His shoulder is okay. Severe bruises there. They did a computerized scan of his chest and his head. He does have a mild concussion and was admitted there last night. Now, we are told by the crew in somewhat jokingly fashion that he was going to be here today. They said, Todd told us if he has to find a nurse's uniform and sneak out of the hospital, he's coming to the racetrack. He was feeling that good this morning, so that certainly is good news for the youngest of the Bodine brothers.
Yep, but again, a tough weekend for all 3 of the racing Bodine brothers. And so the family Channel Ford is badly, badly damaged, at least in the front end, and apparently will be unable to continue. Yesterday, however, the family channel unveiled its new colors for 1994. Jack Roush there on the left, along with the new driver, Ted Musgrave, and this is what his car will look like.
Not bad, huh?
Not bad at all.
Very pretty. Number 16. And folks, we will update you throughout the day on what's going to happen to, or what we think is going to happen to most of the cars here today.
John Kernan is with Kenny Schrader, who was also involved in that incident.
Well, Kenny, it's been a tough weekend for you guys on the first lap of qualifying on Friday, and now this car is torn up pretty good. What happened?
Rusty had just passed Spencer, and I was like on his left rear, and Jimmy just got loose. I mean, you know, the car just started coming around for him. It took a long slide. Most time they'll slide up and go across, you know, but he just kept that same glide pattern, and we got into him, and then they started piling up behind us, you know.
There's just nothing that anybody can do when it happens at that point.
Jimmy just got loose, and you're long, you know. You turn right and try to save it, but you're not going to get it gathered back up.
What about your professional opinion here? You guys going to be able to get this car back out? It looks beat up pretty good.
Well, I imagine we're going to get back out here, but we'll kind of evaluate what we're at. We can't gain anything in points, and if there's one spot we can lose, this already hurt us, so we'll just have to see.
Well, an early end to Kenny Schrader, and obviously you can hear it in his voice, just very disappointed here, Bob. It's been a tough weekend for these guys.
Sure has. Ken Schrader, who was 8th in the point standings going into this final race of the year. We are at Atlanta Motor Speedway, and this is how it looked from the perspective of Jimmy Hensley. ESPN Speed World is very happy to present a tremendous weekend of racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Triple Championship Weekend. ARCA, Busch Grand National, and today, the NASCAR Winston Cup title will be decided. John Kernan is with Jeff Bodine.
Well, Jeff, it would be an understatement to say that this weekend has been particularly tough on the Bodine family. You look to be okay, though, are you?
Yeah, I'm okay. Brett's okay. My mother and father back home, I know they're going crazy. Todd's okay. They're keeping him, looking at him a little bit more, but he's fine. Matt and Barry, they're back home watching. I'm fine. You know, Kathy and I, we don't know what's happening here. Things started out so good when we bought this team. We won the Sears Point race in the 15 car and really thought this was going to work out just fine. It will eventually, but boy, this has been tough here lately. We appreciate what the Family Channel's done for us since we've taken the team over. They've really helped us. We wish we could have run better and won some races for them. But we're still looking for a sponsor for next year. We're not giving up. We don't have one, but we're still in business. All those rumors about we're closing the doors, we're not closing the doors, even after a weekend like this. We love this sport. We're in it for keeps. So this is racing, I guess, but boy, it's been hard here lately.
Sure has, and hopefully something will develop for them so we can see them with that car painted up with a full sponsorship at Daytona in February. Jimmy Spencer also involved. Let's go to Dr. Jerry Punch.
And he still sits in the pits here, John. The car looks a lot worse than it actually is. The sheet metal has been up quite badly on the car. They pulled some of it away. That will affect the aerodynamics of the machine. Also, the towing has been in the front of the car. And apparently, Jimmy Spencer did confirm what Kenny Schrader told us a minute ago. The car just got loose and came out from underneath him as they were coming off the turn out of turn 4. And by the way, for those of you who are superstitious, Jimmy Spencer started today with a 4-leaf clover in each pocket that had been picked for him by his kids to give him good luck. And obviously, it didn't work.
Well, while we have a break here in the action as the cleanup continues, we will tell you about tonight's football game. We hope you'll be with us at 8 o'clock tonight. ESPN's coverage of the National Football League continues as the Bears and the Chargers go at it. That's at 8 o'clock Eastern Time tonight here on ESPN. The Bears.
The Bears.
Well, they're lined up 8th and 9th for this restart. Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace.
So they know exactly where Elvin is going to be all day. Looks like these guys going to run nose to tail all day long. But Rusty, if he's going to make a challenge, has to get to the front. I mean, right now, if he was the race were to end and he finished 9th and Earnhardt finished 8th, or Earnhardt could finish 40th, fall out of the race right now, he would be the champion in 1993.
But lots of racing to go yet.
Oh, yes.
So you never know in this sport.
It's only started.
Yep,
that's right. But we are about to go back to racing activity as the pace car pulls off and the field begins to accelerate. Here they come down for the green flag once again. Gant still at the front of the field with Elliott, Gordon, Rudd, and Mass.
I guess Gant's led every lap but one, the one lap that Dale Jarrett led.
Yeah, I think he has. Boy, that car is strong.
Oh, here goes Rusty.
Earnhardt sliding up the racetrack and allowing Rusty Wallace to take over the position. Ted Musgrave would like to get one here, and he might at the end of the backstretch.
Goes in the corner, and looks like he's got the spot. Yes, he does.
Earnhardt's car looked like it just slipped up a little bit going into turn 1 the last time, and of course that allowed Rusty to go by, and Musgrave slipped right up there as well.
Lake Speed is now right behind Earnhardt. For second place, the battle is between Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon. This is Jeff's kind of racetrack. He won some Grand National races here, and many people are thinking that perhaps this guy can win today.
He ran awfully strong here in the spring. In fact, almost won this race. It got down to a gas mileage war. Morgan Shepherd won the race, but he was very, very strong. He and Rusty Wallace were the class of the field that day after Mark Martin went out.
Will more than likely earn Rookie of the Year honors. Dale Earnhardt appears to be back up to speed as he has passed Ted Musgrave.
Back to Jeff Gordon. You know, if you believe what you read, I've never asked Rick Hendrick this, but what they say in the racing papers that here in Atlanta is where Jeff Gordon was hired by Rick Hendrick. He walked down the corner and watched this kid drive a Busch car through the corners and said, I've got to have him drive for me because he has no fear whatsoever.
Right now he's driving that Winston Cup car pretty well through the corners. He's battling Elliott for second position, hasn't been able to get it yet. Meanwhile, behind them, several cars race for position, including Ernie Irvin, Ricky Rudd, and Morgan Shepherd.
Morgan won the race here in March, right? Did you just say that?
Yep, he sure did. In fact, he has 4 victories in Winston Cup competition. 3 of them have come here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway.
That's right. Wow. Yep, he's won the spring race on 2 different occasions and won this race in 1990.
You know, we were talking about all the things that are yet to be settled. Winter circle plan is certainly something. You'll see Earnhardt go by Rick Mast. Winter circle plan is something a lot of them wants to get on as well. And there are a lot of drivers with just one victory. The higher in the points they are, the better chance they have of being on the winter circle next year. And Morgan Shepherd is one of those drivers.
And the field summary showing you where your favorite driver is. And these are very important today because each time we show you a car out of the race, it means that Earnhardt is a step closer to the title. And Jeff Gordon is about to take second, in fact, does take second place away from Bill Elliott.
The Chevrolet is strong. And Earnhardt mentioned that Manufacturers Championship as well. Whichever finishes in front of each other, Ford or Chevrolet, will win the Manufacturers Championship this year.
There you see Schrader, Jeff Bodine, Bobby Hillin, plus two others, Brett Bodine and Neil Bonnet, are not out of the race. Bonnet is shown as out of the race, but they are at least behind the wall and could be out of the race for the rest of the event.
Ernie Irvin and Jerry Punch reporting from the pits. His car got loose, made an adjustment. Let's see if it will stick this time. Look at Morgan Shepherd from inside his 604, looking directly in front at the race between as he goes by Ricky Rudd, the Tide Chevrolet.
And here comes Rusty. He passes Rudd with ease. And Earnhardt, it appears, will also. Irvin alongside of Bill Elliott in the battle for third spot. They go through the corners side by side.
Elliott's coming back on the outside. And Rusty Wallace has caught this group, and Earnhardt as well. Morgan three abreast.
Hey, hey, hey. Morgan is going to try to pass both of them. He's got Ernie.
Three Fords battling here.
Ernie says, which one do I follow? Well, let's see. Well, any minute now. I don't know.
And Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt are probably saying, I would really not like to be in this mess because there could be something happen up there in front of them.
Now, is Rusty going to make it three abreast? No, Morgan Shepherd moved down so that wouldn't happen. Morgan goes in the corner, carries Bill way up the racetrack to take that spot away.
Way up high.
That's going to cost Elliott 4 or 5 spots.
Now, if that kind of racing had been going on back in the pack with some lesser experienced drivers, you would almost think there was going to be a wreck. And maybe it could have been, but these drivers are all very experienced.
So now it's Gant, Gordon, Shepherd, Wallace, Irvin, and Dale Earnhardt battle side by side with Bill Elliott.
And while this is going on, Jeff Gordon is catching Harry Gant.
Yes, he is. We will show you that, but this probably has more overall importance, at least to the championship. Dale still having a tough time getting around Bill. Now here is the difference, the interval between first and second. There is Harry Gant, the leader of the race. And not too far behind him, there's Jeff.
And look how low that Jeff Gordon is running his car through the corner. Looks like it is handling like a dream.
And here comes the rest of them. Shepherd, Wallace, and others.
And that spot is still being contested by Elliott and Earnhardt.
Now coming up to join in the battle are Rick Mast and Ted Musgrave. So it's a 5-car race there for position. We'll keep an eye on how things go. Right now, it is Harry Gant, the pole sitter of this race, eligible for $38,000 in Unocal bonus money, leading the Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Back in a moment. It's just about 1:30 Eastern Time, and if you are just joining us, welcome to Atlanta Motor Speedway and live coverage of the Hooters 500, the last race of the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup season. The championship battle today is between Dale Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace. We are riding with Morgan Shepherd. At the moment, Harry Gant is the leader of this race, with Jeff Gordon running in second position.
And Rusty Wallace has just moved his Pontiac into third. Ernie Irvin is fourth, and the car we're riding in is the 5th place car, the 604 of Morgan Shepherd.
And they might, we said a moment ago that before we went to break that Jeff Gordon was gaining on Harry Gant. Now Gant has pulled away from him a little bit, but Rusty Wallace is gaining on Jeff Gordon and probably Harry Gant as well. So he's heading towards the front. He wants to get up there and lead if he possibly can.
Dale Earnhardt is currently running 6th, and he needs to finish 34th or better to clinch the championship. Only Rusty can also win it. There is Jeff Gordon, 2nd place, and you're right, Ned. The interval between 2nd and 3rd is shrinking. There is the interval leaderboard. Gordon is less than a second behind Gant.
But he had moved up within about 10 car lengths of him, but that is...
Right now, that graphic is not correct because Rusty is in 3rd place and Morgan is back in 5th. You see Rick Corelli going on low on the apron of the racetrack. There he sees, he comes in.
There is Earnhardt in 6th. Behind him is Elliott in 7th, and then Ricky Wright.
Come at Rick Corelli. He plans to run the Winston Cup circuit next year with David Diff as the crew chief.
Young man from Denver, Colorado.
Total Petroleum will be the sponsor on it.
Rick also crashed during qualifying yesterday. He turned in a lap that put him into 25th starting position and then crashed.
On his next lap.
Yeah, but he's in the race.
You see, Earnhardt is done by Bill Elliott. Finally.
Jeff Gordon continues to hang on to 2nd place. You know, each year, McDonald's awards $50,000 to 3 drivers that are chosen by the fans. Who are they? Well, the 2 championship contenders, Earnhardt and Wallace, and the 3rd member of the all-star team from McDonald's is Jeff Gordon.
What a tribute to that young man to be named by the fans to that all-star team, McDonald's all-star team.
Immensely popular young driver.
He is that.
Boy, what a future he has ahead of him.
Yep.
He's got it all. A tremendous amount of talent, good looks, articulate.
And a heck of a race car driver, and he's driving a good car.
Yes, sir. Got it all.
But Rusty Wallace is just about to put him in 3rd position, or at least Rusty will try to. He drives under Jeff.
Yeah, Jeff's car has gone away a little bit on him now since we talked about him earlier because Harry Gant has pulled away to a pretty good lead on him now. So Rusty takes over 2nd.
Wallace is in 2nd position. Jeff Gordon, who again is in his backup car because of the crash on Friday, now to 3rd, and Ernie Irvin is right there.
Morgan Shepherd hanging right in there, right behind Irvin. She is in 5th position. Irvin looks like he's ready to move up and challenge Gordon for that 3rd position.
Ernie Irvin has scored the most points in the last 5 races, 865, so he's having a great end of the year, building up momentum for a full-out assault on the 94 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. We ride with Morgan Shepherd.
As we watch Ernie Irvin come up, take the spot away from Jeff Gordon, slides right back in front of him.
I didn't know if he was all the way past him, but he knew he was because his spotter had told him was. But that camera angle, it was hard to tell.
Now it's Irvin, Gordon, and Shepherd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Morgan just out for a Sunday drive. But look at how long they're in the corners, and Benny's been talking about this all weekend. But look, he's still turning the wheel.
Still going through the corner, still applying G-forces to the body, having to hold his head up. Finally, he's able to relax. Up, back in the corner again.
Boy, that old neck gets tired towards the end of the race.
You can watch just how little he spends on the straightaway at this racetrack. Harry Gant, I tell you what, they're not gaining too much on Harry.
No, they aren't. He is really, really running good.
Again, we're watching 3rd, 4th, and 5th.
There's Harry.
There is Harry Gant, the leader. Rusty Wallace is in 2nd position at the moment. 60 laps out of 328 are completed here this afternoon. We're delighted you could be with us for this finale of the Winston Cup season for '93. After 64 laps, here are the top 15. Gant the leader, then Rusty Wallace, Ernie Irvin, Jeff Gordon, and Morgan Shepherd. 6 through 10, Earnhardt, Rudd, Elliott, Mast, Musgrave. Dick Trickle is 11th, and Lake Speed, Darrell Waltrip, Kyle Petty, who has moved up from 41st starting position, and Mark Martin, who has moved up from 33rd. So the championship contenders right now are 2nd and 7th. Wallace is 2nd, and Earnhardt is 7th. There's the leader, Harry Gant. There's Rusty.
Tell you what, he's not gaining that much on Harry Gant. Leo Jackson, those guys, Charlie Preston, looks like they got a great race car today. Right, Jerry Punch, what do you think? I think it looks like they got a great race car.
You're exactly right, Benny. And maybe you and Ned can comment on this possibly. And Bob, you know, Harry told me this morning, I guess when you get over 50 years of age, you get a little sentimental. He said that that's why he asked Leo Jackson and Charlie and the guys to bring this race car, because this is the oldest race car they've got. It's Alf, the car they built way back in 1988. And the good thing about Alf is that this car has won at least one race each year. This is Harry's last chance to go to victory lane in 1993.
How about that? He does not have a victory. I was going to say it certainly holds to the same thing in Benny's case. Sometimes old is good.
There comes Rusty.
That was Wally Dallenbach Jr., who was between the two. And here comes Rusty off the 4th corner.
And there comes Ernie.
By the way, since we just saw Wally Dallenbach Jr. there, I'm going to give away the answer to the question, but in looking over statistics, do you know the driver who accumulated the most points on the road courses in '93? Yes.
Wally Dallenbach.
Very good, Benny.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
And he's moving on next year to drive the 44 car, the STP Pontiac of Richard Petty.
Here's our interval leaderboard. Wallace almost 3 seconds behind. Ernie is about 0.8 of a second behind Rusty. Jeff Gordon is 4th, 5 seconds behind, and he is closely pursued by Morgan Shepherd.
Now, Gant, when he left Dave Marcus and Jimmy Spencer, that leaves 25 cars in the lead lap. Spencer is running 26th. So he's just motoring right on around here, putting some good cars a lap down. So Spencer was involved in that wreck.
Shepherd driving to the outside of Kenny Wallace in car number 40, and there's Ken Schrader.
Yeah, he's been back out for a little bit, Bob. I think he's about 31 laps behind when he came back out, but you heard him say that he was going to try to get back out there and run and protect the position that he is in the points.
Right now, there are 4 cars out of the race. Jimmy Horton, Fred Bodine, Bobby Hillen, and Neil Bonnet. So keep that in mind as we continue to settle the championship here. If Dale can finish 34th or better, he wins the title. 42 cars started.
And right now, the worst he could finish would be 38th, unless some of those cars that are out of the race should come back in.
Here's the Napa field summary.
I would think that Dale Earnhardt has to be pretty comfortable right now. The field is fairly spread out. He's racing with good race cars, good, solid race car drivers who are not going to take a lot of chances. Bill Elliott, Ricky Rudd, been around a long time. I would think he has to be very comfortable riding where he's riding right now.
Yeah, I agree with you, Benny. He's sort of by himself on the racetrack there, not taking any chances there. You see Spencer has gone a lap down now, so there's 25 cars in the lead lap.
And as we watch that, Harry Gant just passed Sterling Marlin in the Investus Ford, another guy who crashed in practice on Friday, had to go to a backup car with Sterling Marlin.
So now they're 24 on the lead lap.
There's that much racetrack between Earnhardt and the leader, Harry Gant. So Harry has things in hand right now, but only 3 times has the winner come from the pole position. The most recent time was Rusty Wallace in 1988. Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway and ESPN Speed World coverage finds Harry Gant in the lead, and he has led all but 2 laps today at an average speed of 129.814, slowed by a couple of caution laps, but he is running at about 157.
Harry Gant just missed that last corner, folks. As you saw him go through that corner, he missed it. And these guys behind him are gaining on him right now. I don't know what kind of problem that he might have, maybe, but he went down in turns 1 and 2 and just went way high. And watch as Bobby Hamilton closes up right on the back bumper. And Rusty now is just about a couple of seconds behind.
Yeah, he's closing in a hurry right now.
Harry has some type of problem.
Now, they've been out there a while on these tires, Benny, and it's possible, as hard as he has been running, that the tires are just going away. Here's what Benny's talking about.
Watch as he goes in the corner. He goes down. Now that, and yeah, and see as he gets in the corner, it just goes high, and these guys are just... Jerry Punch, what's the problem with Harry Gant?
Many of you guys are exactly right. Harry thinks he has a right rear tire possibly going down. Charlie Presley said Harry just said right rear, right rear. They are watching him. They are only about 4 or 5 laps away from their early pit window. They would ordinarily pit on lap 82 to 87. They're going to try to watch, but they're going to let Harry make the call. So we'll watch the leader and see if he decides to come down pit road for 4 fresh tires.
And Rusty Wallace sees this opportunity to get up there and lead at least a lap. He wants to lead the most laps, but he needs to get up and lead a lap to get 5 bonus points. So he's driving his heart out trying to get up there to do that.
And he is catching him. He passes Bobby Hamilton and cuts that interval.
See, Harry's running in the groove right now where the car should be running. And look, there's Rusty Wallace just about a second behind Harry now.
Gant has not won here at Atlanta in 29 career starts. He has finished second, however, on 3 different occasions.
And Rusty, you're right. Ned, I just wish that everybody watching today and listening today could put their stuff in Rusty Wallace and just feel the emotion he's going through today as he drives as hard as he possibly can every inch around this racetrack to lead every lap.
Well, Ernie Irvin is catching Rusty Wallace. That interval is shrinking. Now Wallace really comes up on Gant in the 4th corner. He may bid for the lead. At the line, it's still Gant leading this lap. Into turn 1, Rusty has it.
So he has to get back to the start-finish line before he can be credited with leading a lap. And that'll be 5 bonus points. That was the first thing that he had to accomplish today, was lead a lap. And now he, technically it was only 121 points behind Dale Earnhardt because Earnhardt has not led a lap. And then the next thing he needed to do was to lead all the laps.
And we see pit stops happening. Here is John Kernan and Mark Martin's pit as Rusty does lead a lap.
The crew goes to work on Mark Martin's Ford. It will be a 4-tire change. The car started out with a severe push in it. They went the wrong way on the first pit stop. So now they will have to tighten it up with a couple of rounds of wedge in that right rear. Left side tires going on. Now the crew members were missing at the start of the race. They are now here in a pretty good pit stop. 19.9 seconds. As Mark Martin leaves the pit, Harry Gant is on his way in. Let's go down to Jerry Punch.
53-year-old Harry Gant trying to pick up his first win in 1993. His pit window was lap 82. It is lap 81, now 82, as he comes down pit road at 55 miles per hour. The early leader here at Atlanta. Gant will get 4 fresh tires. Remember, he had radioed, he thought he had a right rear tire going down. He is pitting almost all the way down toward turn 1. Another veteran campaigner from Taylorville, North Carolina, takes on the right side tires and left side. He will get the car completely full of fuel. Harry sits very stoically in the car. One leg on the brake pedal, the other one keeping the throttle, revving to the car with unstalled.
And here's the crash. Ernie Irvin has crashed here on the straightaway. Irvin stops near the exit of pit road. Harry had an 18.9-second pit stop, but is it going to hurt him?
Yes, it's going to give him a lap down to Rusty Wallace. And here, watch as Ernie comes off the corner. I wonder if there was some contact between it. No, he just loses control as he comes off the corner right in front of Mark Martin. He goes down, almost saves the car, Ned.
Yes, he did. Almost saved it, but then it just went around again the back end, gets down next to the inside retaining wall. And Mark Martin had just made that pit stop. He was coming up to get himself back in the lead lap, and there's Gant going out of the pits. The leader had already gone by, so he's going to be a lap down.
Here's another angle. We're focused in on Rusty. Behind him, Ernie in trouble.
Maybe Mark Martin coming up that quickly behind him might have taken a little air off the spoiler as he came off of that turn, caused it to get, it was probably already loose with the worn tires he had on, but it probably made him looser yet.
Well, it happened in just about the same area of the racetrack that he crashed in last year in a different car. The caution is out on lap number 85. It's our third caution of the day, and he's trying to drive the car back to the pit area, but you can see the sparks coming from underneath.
Yeah, he's dragging a lot of stuff off that car, trying to get it back. Rusty Wallace did this at Phoenix and ground the sway bar arm off the car and ended up blowing a tire. And look at all that stuff dragging as he tries to get it back to the garage.
Yeah, it's wearing out a lot of metal, and here comes the leaders down pit road.
Ricky Rudd, Morgan Shepherd, Dale Earnhardt is coming in. So is Rick Mast and others, including Elliott, Trickle, Musgrave. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Okay, we're going to show you 3 pit stops, 2, 3, and 21. We've got Pontiac, Chevrolet, and Ford, Earnhardt, and of course the car number 21. That is Morgan Shepherd. Right side tires going on the car number 2. Right side tires on all 3 of the cars. The left side now on the car number 2. And likewise, let's go back upstairs to Benny Parsons.
Trouble on the right rear of Earnhardt's car. They measured for another air wrench, so finally they get another wrench over there. They're now changing the right rear tires. Those other 2 cars are leading. Will Lynn had a problem with a socket or something on the right rear.
And they're still working on the car. They're on the left side, but this is a very long pit stop compared to the others. Rusty had a 20.3 second stop and Morgan 23.2. It was a 34.1 for Earnhardt.
There was some trouble in Darrell Waltrip's pits. I don't know, one of the crewmen, I don't know if he was hanging onto the gas can or what, but as he went down pit road, he was about 3 or 4 pits down from where Darrell pitted, and he rolled out, but he's walking back to the pit, so apparently he's okay.
And Ernie Irvin is in the pits, and they're trying to get that car back in order so that it can continue to race. And a lot of damage on the right rear of the Haviland Ford.
It looked like Billy Hodges did on the 17 car. Got hung on the car or something. They drug him down pit road.
Yeah, it did. They drug him about 6 pits down through there, but he got up, brushed his pants off, and went on back to his pits, ready to go to work again.
Ernie Irvin is away, and here's John.
Well, with Billy Hodges, and Billy's trying to catch his breath right now. I guess, Billy, is it okay if we... Okay, look at that. They're thinking about the race cars. Okay to talk to you right now, Billy? You all right?
Yeah, just trying to take a little bite out of the car. I got the ratchet in there, got it hung and couldn't get it out. Tried to hold on to it till the last minute, get it out, but I couldn't. We had to come back here.
And they talk about football players being tough. These guys, they don't even have the equipment. Look down here on his pants. Tore his pants up. Guess he's okay, though. Billy looks all right.
Yeah, I just happened to look down and saw him rolling down pit road. I said, man, that has to hurt.
Watch the top of the screen here, and you will be able to see it possibly way up at the top.
Let's see.
Yes, it's the very top. Here's Morgan Shepherd coming out.
Yeah.
Here comes Darrell out now.
Yeah.
The guy's hanging on the back.
He's hanging on the car. Finally falls. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, he took a tumble. Look at that. On that hard
still
pavement.
bouncing.
Oh, man. Thank goodness he is okay.
Here's Jerry again.
A minute ago, you saw problems with Dale Earnhardt's car. Now, it was a very simple problem, but it cost him some time. Fortunately, it was under the caution flag. This is the air impact wrench they used for the right rear tire that Will Lynn was trying to use. Apparently, a lug nut got hung up inside, and he shook it, couldn't get the lug nut out, so rather than trying to pry it out, absolutely decided to go ahead and change to a different air gun. The pit stops are complete. We are under caution here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Today's running and a possible championship to be settled after this.
Just about to go back to racing. Green flag competition. There's the pit summary showing you that Rusty has the lead, or rather came out second. Rudd came out in the lead. Shepherd fifth. Earnhardt there. Look at that. He lost 7 track positions because of that problem that he had on pit road with the air wrench.
And here's Harry again. He was at the tail end of the lead lap, and Mark Martin also was a lap down. He's trying to get back in the lead lap, but Harry again has gone a lap down.
And Rusty is charging. Look at him.
Here he comes, trying to take over the lead. Ricky Rudd goes high. Here comes Rusty on the inside.
Battle for the lead between Rudd and Wallace. Mark Martin back on the lead lap, and Rusty Wallace back in the lead.
Now, Martin's car has not been up to what I personally expected it to be today. He started back in 33rd position. I thought he would move up through the pack. He was running about the middle of the pack before he made that pit stop, got a lap down.
Here comes Rusty trying to put Martin a lap down again.
It seems after those new tires go away.
He does. Look at the racing back here behind Rusty.
Dick Trickle in the Manhunt car on the outside, the 41. Sterling Lamar on the inside, the blue and white 8. And Jeff Gordon behind those guys, trying his best to get through that traffic. And Gordon is followed by Ted Musgrave, and there's Earnhardt right behind that group of cars.
Right now, Dale is being shown in 11th position. Rusty is the leader.
Ted Musgrave still in the middle of that, still having a good run here today.
That's from Bud 1, the Bud 1 airship, hovering high above Atlanta Motor Speedway, bringing you the aerial shots. These guys have done yeoman duty the last 3 days. They've been with us for the ARCA race, the Grand National, and now the Winston Cup finale.
See, Dale Jarrett went sort of gingerly in there behind Sterling Marlin the lap before when Earnhardt got around, and Jarrett got sideways up turn 3 and 4. I thought maybe there's some oil there. I don't know what happened, but anyway, he's tiptoeing through that corner now. Don't blame him.
The season isn't going to end the way it started for Dale Jarrett with that outstanding victory at the Daytona 500, but Dale has had an excellent season. Here's the field summary. There is Kyle Petty. He is trying to move up in the points, came into this event 6th, but only 5 behind Morgan Shepherd in 5th. And Morgan is having a good run, so Kyle still has to improve himself to move up into that 5th position in the points.
Morgan being shown in 5th position right now.
But Kyle has driven from 41st starting position, and Earnhardt takes the spot away from Ted Musgrave.
He lets them get sort of singled out and then takes off. Earnhardt. He was ahead of many of these cars that he's passed here in the last few laps before the miscue in the pits.
We documented earlier the weekend of the Bodine brothers. Jeff has crashed out of this race. Brett has crashed out of this race. Todd has been released from the hospital. Here is a good battle between Bill Elliott and Dick Trickle as Jeff Gordon looks on.
Good run for Dick Trickle this afternoon as he tries to pass Bill Elliott.
This is for 5th position.
Trickle has just a little bit of advantage now, and here comes Jeff Gordon, going to make it 3 abreast.
Jeff is to the inside of Trickle as they head for turn number 1.
Dick Trickle said, just for that, Jeff, I'm not going to back off and let you go.
Earnhardt comes up on Jeff Gordon, but Jeff pulls alongside of Trickle and challenges him into turn 3 once again.
You have to be careful down there because there's not a lot of air cushion on the outside there, down that inside. It can get out from under you very quickly if you aren't careful, but he was very careful going through the turn.
We have seen that on numerous occasions in the last 2 days.
So Trickle moves in front of Jeff Gordon. Now Earnhardt's going to try him on the outside. In the meantime, as he goes up the racetrack, Ted Musgrave trying to take that spot away from Earnhardt. And Dale Jarrett back watching, trying to figure out which one to follow.
We saw Earnhardt make his move around the 55 car of Ted Musgrave a little bit ago and figured, well, he's going to prevail, but then Ted got back up on the inside. Ooh, they got close, but Earnhardt maintains the position.
Here's Morgan Shepherd and Rick Mass, and that is for 3rd. Morgan takes 3rd. So now it's Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, Shepherd, Mass, and Elliott.
Look at Rusty put some distance on these guys.
He has one previous win here in Atlanta in 22 starts. He won this event back in 1988.
I
tell you what, Ned, this year Buddy Parrott and that crew has been masters at getting that car, at adjusting that car during the race to make it better, because Rusty qualified 19th. Didn't look like he had a lot going for him to begin with, and right now he's flying. Oh, and Mark Martin off the pace.
He is definitely off the pace in the Valvoline Ford. Now he seems to have picked back up.
And it's not a typical day for Mark, at least in the second half of the season, because he has been so strong with 12 finishes of 6 or better in the last 16 races. He does have third in the points locked up, but he is currently 2 laps down.
Oh, Rudd has got some serious problems in that Tide Chevrolet right now as he goes high up in the corner. Lets Rick Mass go by. Mark Martin goes by. So Rudd, his car seems to be going away right now.
Watch the telemetry here on Mark's car. 186, it appeared, was the fastest speed achieved. Stabilizing at 158 and now headed back the other way. Here is Dick Trickle and Bill Elliott vying for position.
Once again.
Didn't we see this happen just a moment ago?
It wasn't long ago that we saw them battling side by side. Jeff Gordon came up, tried to interfere there, but now Gordon's dropped back a little bit. Trickle got him a run again. I believe he's going to get it this time.
There we go. He does. Takes that 5th spot away. Rumors around the garage area that Joe Nemechek is in line to drive that 41 car next year. That's what I hear.
Yeah, I've heard that also.
No one will confirm that, but
Don't you love this time of year when several drivers and car combinations have been established for next year, but there is just a whole lot of rumors and conversation going on down in the garage area.
Meanwhile, Dick Trickle doing a great job.
And Rusty Wallace is leading. He has led 16 of the 100 laps that we have run so far. Average speed of the race, 129.835. We'll be back in just a moment. A big puff of smoke from Rick Mass' car indicates trouble. He got up and scraped the wall up in turn 3, didn't he, Benny?
Well, he got real close. If he didn't hit it, it was a miracle. No, he didn't hit it.
But he got real close. He sure did. Here's a replay. Maybe we can see how close he did come.
There he is right in front of Ricky Rudd. He blows just as he goes in turn 3 and wisely goes up against the wall, and then he does a great job not to hit it.
He really does. He was running in 3rd place. Another tough break for Rick Mass, who has had some awfully good runs this year, but when he does have those good runs, something goes wrong.
Our fourth caution comes out on lap 106. Rick Mass with a mechanical problem that will necessitate the track crew coming out and checking for oil or other debris on the racetrack.
And neither Harry Gant or Mark Martin was able to get their lap back from Rusty Wallace, the leader, as we are inside with late speed.
That car is sporting its new colors, and let's go down to Jerry Punch.
And we should expect normal pit stops here for the Miller Genuine Draft team, the Pontiac team. Possibly the last time you may see a Pontiac in this pit, as they may change for 1994. Rusty Wallace bringing the car down, still hoping that somehow, some way, he can pull off a Winston Cup time for 1993. Windshield being cleaned. They will all 4 tires. 2, 3, 21. Once again, 3 different pit stops going on for you at home. We're showing you Rusty Wallace, Dale Earnhardt, and the car number 21, the Ford crew, the Wood Brothers working on Morgan Shepherd.
And the 3 car, what is it? They're having trouble again. Having trouble once again on the left rear. Well, 18 seconds is not a problem. I guess he was just slow getting in.
18 seconds for Wallace, 18.6 for Earnhardt, and 19.6 for Morgan Shepherd.
Bill Elliott had a relatively slow pit stop, too, with the Budweiser Ford. He lost some positions on that round of stops.
And they'll see the hood up on the 28 car as Larry McReynolds, that crew, goes to work on the Haviland Ford, trying to get it back in shape so Ernie can contest the win this afternoon.
Well, he'll be contesting staying in points where he is,
Yeah, he's 7th in points coming in, and not too far behind Kyle Petty and not too far ahead of Ken Schrader, who is 8th. We'll take another break. We're under caution here at Atlanta. ESPN Speed World of the Hooters 500 is being brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Smooth Busch Beer and easy drinking Busch Light. Busch, the official beer of NASCAR. And by Napa, we keep America running. Lake Speed relaxing once again under caution here at Atlanta. Another Ford driver, Morgan Shepherd, is also taking a breather here as they clean up the track from Rick Mast's blown engine. We invite you to stay with us at the end of our race, because right after we conclude this event, we'll have a special shop talk featuring Davey Allison. And then the entire Speed World team will be back here at 5 o'clock Eastern time with a live Speed Week. That's at 5 o'clock Eastern.
Eli Gold and I do that shop talk with Davey Allison, tribute to Davey Allison. And there is Lake Speed. That's what the 15 quality care car is going to look like next year.
Yep, they brought out the new colors in the last race here of '93, but that's what the car will look like. Well, it was a real good pit stop for our Kyle Petty, Ned.
Yeah, he was running about 13th, Bob, and now is in 6th position, so they really got him out in great shape.
Rusty in first, out first. Morgan stayed the same. Rudd from 3rd to 7th. Trickle 4th to 5th. Look at this. Elliott 5th to 12th. And Petty 13th to 6th.
Wow.
And John Kernan is with Rick Mast.
Well, guys, you're talking about a new look on a car. You see some red-blue trim on Rick Mast's Skull Ford. That's going to be the new look, the new uniform for next year. And you were wondering if you quite possibly had hit the wall. You said he came about as close as you could. Not a scratch on the side, but Rick, not much left inside the engine, is there?
No, I can tell you, I'll never be so glad to get a season over with in all my life. We run good in every race but 4 or 5 races this year and had a problem. You know, we lost something under the hood today, but each week it's something different, from one end of the bumper to the front, from the back bumper to the front bumper. You know, every week something's happening. The good part about it, you know, we're running good. I mean, about everywhere we go, the car's competitive, we're running good. The car felt super today. You know, I don't know how I'd have done at the end, but I'd have been up in there with us somewhere and I'll let go. So, well, we get them next year.
Well, that's what you say. You don't say next week now, you say next year. Maybe they got rid of all that bad luck this year. Now let's go to Jerry Punch, who's on pit road with a report on Ernie Irvin.
Exactly. Ernie's been on and off pit road a couple of times, John. And the problem that when he hit the wall, the front pit wall, they broke the sway bar, one of the lower sway bar arms. You can hear them behind me. They're discussing what they're going to do. They brought Ernie in a couple of times. This is part of the bracket that snapped off that holds the sway bar in place. They have brought him back in. They put a new sway bar in. They're trying to, one by one, put these brackets back in position. They're going to bring him back in, set the sway bar, and then hopefully change tires and give him a chance to go back out and get a good finish if he can't here at Atlanta this afternoon. So they're still waiting for Ernie to come back in. He should make an entry on the pit road here momentarily.
The field is over in turns 3 and 4. Ernie is at the back of the line in turn number 3. Good crowd on hand for the finale of the NASCAR Winston Cup season. Back at Atlanta from overhead, you'll notice the cars are on the wrong side of the wall here on the main straightaway. The field is being brought down pit road behind the pace car because it has been determined that someone is leaking oil. And so all the NASCAR inspectors move out to the yellow line there to look carefully to see if they can find out who it is that's leaking.
They had the same problem at Rockingham. They said the 2 crews pointed to the 3 car and said, got to be Earnhardt, got to be Earnhardt. Didn't figure that. Never see the officials looking as the cars go by. I saw one of the officials talking to the 25 crew, but I don't know that they might have just been discussing the weather.
Which is still overcast.
Which is still, yeah. Latest update, it's overcast.
There's the 25 crew.
They're looking at his car as they go by.
Well, once again, we welcome the Bud 1 airship to Atlanta Motor Speedway as they help our coverage here today. George Shaftsma is the camera operator, hovering above the racetrack. We thought maybe at one time today it wouldn't be able to get into the air because of the low ceiling that we had here, but the fog has burned off. Partly cloudy skies overhead, mostly cloudy actually, and not a bad day for racing. Ernie Irvin is back on pit road.
So they must have fixed that sway bar problem that Jerry Punch explained, and now they are changing the tires.
This will allow us to do another field summary. For those of you who have switched over during what we probably believe is halftime of your favorite football game, you may want to stay with us. This is not bad at all. You can see that Rusty Wallace is leading this race, and he is in contention for the NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. Bill Elliott, who is now running in 11th position, and there are 18 cars on the lead lap.
See a good number of cars that are 1 lap down. The signal's being given for 1 more lap, and we'll go back to green.
As you see when we get down to here now, Rick Mast is out. And with these other cars, Schrader's still on the racetrack, Horton's out. There's 6 cars now out of the race. That means the worst that Earnhardt could do would be 36th if he had a problem right now.
Yep.
A couple more cars, and he can turn all those horses loose and try to get to the front.
Go for it to win the championship.
And the race.
Now here it is. Here's the breakdown. Dale clinches if Rusty wins, and Dale finishes in 34th position, and so on down the line.
But Rusty has to lead the most laps and win the race. So, and the way that's happening right now, I think he's probably going to lead the most laps because his car is good.
Well, after Harry Gantz sort of slowed down a little bit, Gantz a lap down. The yellow's back out again here now, so
it's going to be at least 1 more lap before we go back to green. As a matter of fact, Rusty Wallace has led 27 laps right now, and we have completed 112. Back with more live coverage from Atlanta in a moment.
Back at Atlanta Motor Speedway, here's what happens to solid steel when you drag it beneath the race car at 170 miles an hour. This is what's left of the sway bar arm that came off the car number 28 of Ernie Irvin. Absolutely ground away, part of the bolt ground away, and half the steel shaft is gone. But they've repaired the car, and he's back out as we're getting ready to go green. Bob?
We are ready to go green. The field comes out of corner number 4. Rusty Wallace at the point, and the green is out. Morgan Shepherd, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt, and Dick Trickle are in the top 5. Lap 115 is the lap on which we resume competition.
Rusty with a good jump there. Kept Mark Martin and Harry Gant back there with little chance for them to get in front of him and get back on the lead lap.
Side by side. There's Jimmy Spencer back in the race on the outside of
Rick Wilson
and Sterling Marlin.
Yeah, Spencer has been running all the time. He went a lap down. He's not running as fast as he was early in the race, but he is still out there running.
Musgrave and Darrell Walters in a battle there momentarily. Now
Lake Speed moves up beside of Darrell Walters, tries to take that spot away, and they're side by side going down in turn 1. Meanwhile, look here, Morgan Shepherd has caught Rusty Wallace. He had about a second lead just a moment ago.
He jumped out to a big lead, and Shepherd has run him down in a hurry in the sit-go forward.
Don't forget, in addition to the Drivers' Championship, we settled a Manufacturers' Championship here today. Ford and Chevy are nose to tail going in.
I tell you what, Ford may be pulling for a Pontiac today because Rusty can win the race and Ford can still win the Manufacturers' Championship. But if a Chevrolet was to run first or second and a Ford second or third, the Chevrolet will win.
Chevy trying to come back after Ford's title last year in the series. Morgan right on the back bumper of the Miller Genuine draft car.
And here's a mess.
Ted Musgrave, Kyle Petty, Ricky Rudd, Lake Speed, Darrell Waltrip, and Derek Coates.
Kyle Petty's crew got him up to, what, 6th place or something? Yeah. He's just not able to hold it.
No, that car is not up to the speed that we normally see the Mellow Yellow Pontiac. I don't know what the problem is. He didn't qualify well, had to take a provisional spot to get in the field. But certainly the crew did an outstanding job.
Bill Elliott and Wally Dallenbach are also in this mess, as Benny calls it. Bobby Labonte now pulls alongside of Kyle Petty.
Yeah, Kyle is definitely off the pace. Not quite right with that Mellow Yellow Pontiac. See Phil Parsons in that 75 Factory Stores of America car.
Phil did a good job in that car today.
He's 15th right now on the lead lap.
Had to start to rear the field. I guess he started to rear by changing drivers in there.
Yep. So he has done a good job keeping the car on the lead lap, replacing Todd Bodine, of course, who wrecked yesterday.
But as we said just a few minutes ago, has been released from the hospital. They kept him overnight, but they have released him from the hospital. And apparently the only broken bone is in his hand.
That black car just went out of the picture is Mike Wallace. He's right behind Kyle Petty right now in the Goron paint car. He's been doing a great job.
He has. He's one of the cars on the lead lap today, and he's got some new sponsorship on it today. Besides Duran Paints, Abco Office Furniture from Florence, Alabama came in and giving him some sponsorship. Now Mike's up there battling with Kyle Petty.
The third Wallace in the race. Rusty, Kenny, and Mike.
And all three of them are still in the race today. Mike has been trying desperately to get himself a full-time Winston Cup ride, and I think he has a lot of talent. He just hasn't had the right opportunity yet, but I think when he gets it, I think he'll prove to someone, whoever that might be, that he has the capabilities of running with these guys. He's showing it right now.
Find out what John Kernan has to say about this.
Ned, I'd have to echo your comments, and a lot of people in the garage area and around racing, a lot of the media have seen this young man race. They know that he's got the talent. He just needs the brakes. You talk about how well he's running today. That car that he's driving today, an old Rusty Wallace Pontiac, it was the same car that he had set the ARCA qualifying record with last year at this very racetrack. And he says he's hopeful he may have some things to announce in the next few weeks as to his future in Winston Cup or Busch Grand National for next year.
There you see the recent serial on Mike, started 23rd, and how he has achieved his current position of 15th.
He says that Abco Office Furniture Company has some possibilities, so let's hope something works out for him.
Meanwhile, back to the lead. Morgan Shepherd still dogging that 2-car. Rusty Wallace.
They pulled away from third place runner Jeff Gordon by a good distance.
Yeah, I'm not timing these cars to tell how fast they're running each lap, but I think that Rusty probably has not slowed down. I think that Morgan Shepherd has probably picked up speed.
I'm sure they made some adjustments on the sit-go forward during his last pit stop, and it's working for him.
We talked about how Chevy and Ford are in the battle for the Manufacturers' Championship, and look at that impressive statistic. 10 wins for Pontiac, and right now Pontiac is second as Shepherd takes the lead.
He just motored right on around.
Ford has won the last 4 events at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
This has been a good track for Ford over the years.
And it has put a good track for Morgan Shepherd, who now assumes command of the Hooters 500. Back in a moment. Christmas is coming, and that 93 NASCAR video will make a great Christmas gift. Rusty Wallace has gone back into the lead. And the 41 car of Dick Trickle, which had been falling back greatly, has now brought it onto pit road.
Evidently had a tire going down or something. They're coming in to change the right side, and they'll change the left side as well. But Trickle is having a great run in the Manheim Auto Auction car here today, but he'll go a lap down. Jerry, what's his problem? Was it flat?
Yeah, they think it was. Apparently he had a vibration a couple laps ago. He had backed out of the throttle just slightly the last couple of laps, and then he decided to go ahead and come down and take no chances. NASCAR tells the drivers in the meeting as they've changed all 4 tires and he is away in the Manheim auction car. They tell the drivers, if you get a vibration, don't guess, come down pit road. That's exactly what he did.
Yeah, that's good smart thinking, because normally those vibrations don't go away. They normally get worse.
There you saw the interval between first and second as Morgan led only a couple of laps before Rusty reassumed command, and now is pulling away a little bit from Morgan. In fact, there's the leaderboard. About a half second separates first and second, and about 9.3 seconds separates 1 through 5. John Kernan with a report.
Bob, you talk about Morgan Shepherd, how he seems to be dropping back a little bit. They started the race, they were very, very tight, so they made some pressure changes, and now the car is running very, very loose. So on the next pit stop, they'll have to tighten it back up. Right now, Morgan's having to hold on.
This is the battle for 9th position between Dale Jarrett in 18 and Darrell Waltrip in 17.
Which one's going forward, Ned? Is it Dale going forward?
Yeah, he's going forward. He came out of the pit 16th in that last pit stop. He lost about 6 positions, but they made another chassis adjustment on it. It seems to be working pretty well for him. Although Darrell's car is not working as good as it was earlier, I don't think.
There we see the two Chevrolets racing each other. As Dale Jarrett comes off the corner, he's able to go down on the racetrack, and Darrell Waltrip has to go up, and that's the difference.
Yeah, Darrell's having trouble keeping his car down there. Lake Speed passed him about 3 or 4 laps ago.
And Darrell Waltrip is another driver that you have to think will be glad when the 93 season is over. It has not been a good season for him. He will not win a race this year, apparently, and he will not even finish in the top 10 at points. He's 14th going into this race, and he always, of course, created a lot of interest and a lot of humor at the banquet that we will televise again this year, but he will not be on stage this year when we do bring you that banquet from the Waldorf Astoria. Here's Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt.
That's a race for third.
Yeah, Earnhardt seems to be closing in a little bit on Gordon.
I would think the closer that Dale gets to that number 34 finishing position, or at least a guarantee, the harder he will run.
Had another car just being pushed into the garage area a few moments ago. Rick Pirelli in the Total Petroleum car. They pushed it in, so apparently he's out of the race.
So that means 7 cars not out of the race. The worst Earnhardt can finish would be 35th.
On the super speedways, when you compare Dale and Rusty and their seasons that are just about to be completed, Dale scored 350 more points on the super speedways. Rusty 338 more points than Dale on the short tracks. In the Sears Point road course, Dale gained 106.
Well, Rusty won every short track there was, didn't he?
Well, almost.
He finished second in one of them, maybe.
Yeah,
you think
it was one of those races. I think he finished second in, but boy, he was strong in just every one of them.
And you always consider Rusty among the maybe handful or so that can win at Sears Point, but it was not a good race for him this year.
They broke the transmission.
Yep. And when you put them head-to-head for the Winston Cup, you will notice that Dale Earnhardt has 3 less victories than Rusty. Dale has led more races, the most laps in 9 of 8, has finished in the top 5 17 to Rusty's 18. Both have 20 top 10 finishes, and there is another important factor.
That is
2 DNFs for Earnhardt and 5 for Rusty.
That is the most important graphic on that screen, the DNFs.
Rusty is the leader as he passes another car and puts the 02 of T.W. Taylor a lap down. 2:30 Eastern Time. Welcome if you're just joining us. We've completed 137 laps out of 328 in this Hooters 500 as Rusty Wallace and Dale Earnhardt settle the championship for 1993. At the moment, Rusty Wallace is leading. He has led 50 laps, and Dale Earnhardt is running in 4th spot.
I tell you what, there's a kid in Norfolk, Virginia that's awfully happy today. Christopher Brandt had a liver transplant, and he's doing fine. He finally got a donor and went up to the University of Virginia Medical Center and had it done. And he's a big Rusty Wallace fan, so I know Christopher's feeling great today.
And we wish you the best. John Kernan has more on that.
Well, Benny, while we're talking about that, Bobby Scruggs, a Busch Grand National official and also a Winston Cup official, who more or less my next-door neighbor back in Roanoke, Virginia. His mother is in the hospital back in Roanoke. She's recovering from a stroke. Bobby says she enjoys watching the races on ESPN, and he wanted us to say a big hello to his mother, Virginia Scruggs, who's back in the hospital recovering.
And I got one, too. You know, Steve Grissom won the Busch Grand National Championship this year, and his grandmother is ailing, and I believe he's already left to go be with her, so we wish her the best in her recovery.
And then while we're on that type of subject, did you talk to Stanley Smith? Wasn't he here on
I saw Stanley Smith Friday. Got in the garage here. You know, the guy who had that terrible crash down in Talladega in May. He came to the racetrack Friday, shook hands with me, and we talked a little bit, and he's doing great.
That is just great to see him back at the racetrack.
And there's the guy's doing great, Dale Jarrett. He's on his way marching forward.
Just moved into 8.
Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
Behind him is...
crashed down at turn 1. Looks like T.W. Taylor's backed into the wall down there.
Car slides to the grass.
That is T.W. Yes, it is.
The Children's Miracle Network Ford.
He has fouled up the rear portion of that car.
I believe you can talk about
who's trying to race Rusty back?
Hamilton got lap back. So you can scratch off another car and put another one out of the race, or so it would appear, as T.W. Taylor's car is badly damaged in the infield in turn 1.
He's moving around in the car, taking his helmet off now, so it's a good sign that he's okay.
Folks, the way I figured, that's 8 cars out of the race.
Are you down to 34, though?
Are you going to be the one that says it? Or am I?
Why?
Or are we either one going to say it?
No.
There are 8 cars,
we think,
according to our calculations, that are out of the race.
Counting this one.
Yeah.
And he has no reason to fix the car to get back in the race because TW not running for points or anything else. So,
and if that is the case, then Dale Earnhardt has clinched the title. I'm not sure that we want to say that right now, but he gets closer and closer every moment. T.W. Taylor from Petersburg, Virginia, is out of the race car and walking around assessing the damage and appears to be okay. You can't say that for the race car because especially the rear part of it is very, very badly damaged.
Shaking hands with somebody. Meanwhile, pits are open, and here the cars come down pit road.
Rusty, Morgan, Jeff, Dale, Bill, Ricky, Blake, Jarrett. Here's Jerry.
And our lead cars on the lead left, will be getting 4 cars, as expected. 2, 21, 3 in that order. If you're watching 3 pit stops here, Rusty Wallace and Pontiac now getting right and left side tires. Dale Earnhardt's crew likewise working on his, Goodrich Chevrolet, and the car number 21, the Cisco Ford, with the Wood Brothers car. Left side tires on Dale Earnhardt. Rusty Wallace is down and away. Great pit stop on the Miller Genuine Draft 2. Dale Earnhardt is still there, getting his tires. Morgan Shepherd is already headed down pit road, so it'll be Rusty Wallace. Of those 3 you were watching, Rust 18, car number 1, and of course the car number 21 of Morgan Shepherd.
18.1 second pit stop for Rusty. He was the best among the 3. Now other cars are rolling out, including Darrell Waltrip and Mike Wallace. John Kernan has a report.
Well, I'm sure the folks watching at home noticed that no chassis adjustment was made on Morgan Shepherd's Ford, and we told you how the car was running loose. They've done that with air pressure. What they have done is they've backed the pressure down by 1 pound all the way around it. Talking to Eddie Wood, he says he hopes that that is the right call because the car had gotten very, very loose on them.
All right, we are under caution here at Atlanta Motor Speedway because of an accident in turn number 1 involving T.W. Taylor. Back in a moment. Are brought to you by new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines.
In Winston Cup racing, safety comes first. That has led to a change in the design of the steering column here at Quaker State Racing. Brad, if you would, share with us why.
The last race of the season in '92, I was involved in a pretty serious accident in Atlanta, sustained knee injury due to that accident. The reason for that was the way the steering column was mounted. This flat plate with adjusting slots, even though it was heavily padded, my knee came in contact with it, cut it open, injured it, bruised it pretty severely. We've decided to reevaluate the situation, come up with a new idea.
So for 1993, this is what the steering column looks like in many of the Winston Cup cars. Obviously much more streamlined, still has the adjusting holes up here, but you don't have those wide, sharp flanges where you can cut a knee upon impact. And Brett, something that isn't new but also gives the drivers a comfort level are these 2 fail-safe mechanisms here. This hinged area at the firewall to help absorb impact, and even further down, this collapsible rod, which will help absorb the impact within the column for those unexpected head-on collisions.
I tell you what, that telescoping thing is pretty nice because when these cars hit the left front and jam that corner back towards the driver, the fact that the steering box is able to telescope back towards the driver rather than pushing the steering wheel back in his chest, it's pretty doggone good deal.
It really is.
Blake Speed working his steering wheel as the T.W. Taylor car is on the flatbed headed for the garage area. That's the reason for the yellow flag. And Jerry Punch can tell us about a new program involving wreckers on the highway and NASCAR. Jerry?
Well, it's a brand new program. In fact, I'm with Brian France, the Vice President of Marketing for NASCAR. And Brian, we've seen records used at racetracks, and now you guys are going to do the same thing on the highway.
Well, we're going to do it. We're going to do it better than anybody else, because who better to bring you roadside assistance than NASCAR? You know, whether it's towing, whether your car just breaks down, you lock yourself out of the car, whatever your problems, it's great peace of mind to have the NASCAR Advantage roadside assistance. No question about it, Jerry.
How do people get involved with this? How do they join?
Well, they call 1-800-862-7900. Right now, it's $54.95 for an annual membership, and that covers your wife as well. Wife, spouse, whatever car you're in, you can use the service. You don't have to use the service just one time. It pays for itself, so it's tremendous peace of mind. One call anywhere in America, actually anywhere in Canada as well, we'll find a towing vehicle in 30 minutes or less. We'll have it out there. That's our commitment.
And the only difference is guys, when you fall out of the car on the highway, we're not going to interview on ESPN. Here at the racetrack, we'll do it, but there we won't. But you'll get some good service anyway. It's a good program, guys.
All right, thank you, Brian and Jerry. And let's go to John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, I guess the car that could use that new service by NASCAR is Loy Allen's Ford. The TriStar Motorsports crew are going to work on it. I think you mentioned about him hitting a tire on pit road and dragging it around. Well, apparently it's punctured the radiator, and they've had to pull it behind pit wall, and now the crew is working very, very furiously. Let's listen in to him and see if we can sneak in.
Fell down on the ground right there. Every time they lay a wrench there, it falls on the ground.
Well, as you listen to the work being done on his car, we'll take a break and be back with more of the Hooters 500, the final race of the '93 NASCAR Winston Cup season from Atlanta Motor Speedway. After 146 of 328 laps, there are the top 5. Wallace, Gordon, Elliott, Shepard, and Earnhardt. Just about to go green. Once again, T.W. Taylor's car has been taken off of the racetrack, and everything is clean down in turns 1 and 2, and so we can go back to competition. Earnhardt say that's pretty now, huh?
That's pretty well right.
Yeah, that's very, very close to the truth. Here,
we'll let them make the announcement then.
Okay. Crowd rises to its feet as the field comes out of turn 4 and gets the green flag once again.
Once again, Rusty gets a good jump.
Remember about, what was 1988 that Rusty did this?
Yeah, Rusty won the race and lost the championship to Bill Elliott by 24 points. And there is Elliott. Speaking of Bill.
Right behind Morgan Shepherd. Here comes Elliott on the inside.
And Earnhardt. That is a battle for third position. Shepard, Elliott, and Earnhardt. And then this group of cars behind the trio.
Bill Elliott, the last lap underneath Morgan Shepherd.
Now
here's
look
the
at
lead.
this. Gordon.
For the lead.
Yeah, Jeff Gordon wants the lead from Rusty Wallace. He'll not get it right now. Rusty, in his pursuit of the 5 bonus points for leading the most laps, has a little bit to go yet. Harry Gant has led the most laps so far, 78. Wallace has led 60. And the 68 car of Greg Sachs is slowing. Flat tire on that car?
I don't know. It doesn't look like the left side is flat, but you can't really tell because they have inner liners. It's so hard to tell.
Jeff once again makes a bid. Closes up right on that Miller Genuine Wrap back bumper, but cannot take the lead. Let's see as he looks to the inside off turn 2.
Remember the 21 car, Morgan Shepherd did this the last time. Went up and challenged and finally took the lead from Rusty Wallace, but Rusty came right back. Rusty, I tell you what, Jeff really is getting off that 4th corner.
Yes, he is. He's getting a good run off the 4th turn.
Jeff Gordon, as we indicated, will more than likely be chosen Rookie of the Year. He has been the top rookie finisher in 15 races this year. Bobby Labonte has been the top finisher in 8, and Kenny Wallace in 6. So that much heralded season of 3 top rookie contenders has certainly panned out that way. Here's Jeff once again, and off corner number 4, a good run. This time he'll be able to pull alongside of Rusty at the line. Jeff is going to lead that lap.
Yep, he's got himself 5 bonus points. And now he backs off. Maybe that's all he wanted to do.
Maybe.
Because he's trying to get in the top 10 in the Winston Cup point standings. He was 13 coming in. But
and was in the top 10 for quite a while this year, but has not had good finishes lately. And, going back to 13.
Had a wreck out in Phoenix.
Meanwhile, right behind these guys is Harry Gant. Remember how strong he was at the beginning of the race? Made that unscheduled pit stop, or I guess it was a scheduled pit stop, and the caution came out a lap later, 2 laps later. He's now a lap down back in 18th. He's racing these guys trying to get that lap back.
Jeff once again looks to the inside of Rusty off of corner number 2.
I think he has the faster car right now. He's going to prove it. Going into turn 3, he's going to take the lead for sure.
And here comes Harry right behind him. Rusty backs off. Now Morgan Shepherd begins to close in on Wallace. Jeff Gordon moves to the front.
Meanwhile, if you watch this action, Roy Allen in the naturally fresh Ford has changed the radiator. He's going back on the racetrack.
But he's not one of those cars we had counted out.
No,
anyway, was
no.
Morgan as he closes up on the back bumper of Rusty Wallace. We talked about that manufacturer's championship just a little bit ago. Right now, Chevrolet would win.
Yep.
If the race were over, because Jeff Gordon and the Chevrolet leading. The Pontiac is running second, the Ford is third.
Well, the Ford is trying for second.
And he is, isn't he?
And he's going to get it.
Yep, into 3.
Here comes Bill Elliott.
Shepard goes to second. Here is Elliott going to third. Rusty is falling from first to fourth in about 2.5 laps. He'll make that another position as Ricky Rudd gets around.
Yeah, apparently this set of tires he has on right now is not working on that Pontiac the way his tires were earlier.
And now right behind Rusty is Earnhardt.
Yeah, he's got about 20 car lengths or so, and Earnhardt has Dale Jarrett to contend with right now.
You can see them right back there coming out of the corner on this in-car. There they are. Jarrett trying to take the position away from Earnhardt, and he does. So Earnhardt did caution. Whoa, Wally Dallenbach has crashed.
Over on turn 2.
Over
Crashed hard.
Yes, he has.
Into that Keystone Ford.
And Harry Gant did not get a lap back.
Wow, that car obviously made heavy front-end contact with the wall. That's the Keystone Beer Planters Nut Ford. I'd love to see some movement from the inside of that machine. Well, it brings out another caution.
Well, I know that's not the way that Wally Dallenbach wanted to end his reign with the... There you see it.
Yep.
Just spins around and hits head-on into the wall.
Car just suddenly darted right and head-on into the wall.
What happened? He got the car out of shape, and when he corrected it, it came back caught and went right in.
Down.
Well, there he is.
Yeah, good.
Oh, the window net's down, and I saw an arm come out. So.
That's good.
His last race in the Keystone Ford for Jack Roush. Of course, as we've said, he'll drive for Richard Petty in the STP team in 1994.
You know, we know that the 43 is going to Richard's Busch Grand National car, and I heard some speculation down in the garage area today that they were going to go to 43 on the Winston Cup car. Have you guys heard that?
I haven't heard that. No.
Well, we'll see. Don't take it to the bank, but that was the rumor. Now, pit stops. Jeff Gordon, Morgan Shepherd, and others come in for service once again during the 6th caution period. Here's John Kernan.
Morgan Shepherd comes in. It'll be a 4-tire change. They'll also make a chassis adjustment with 1 round. The bikes are trying to get the car tightened back up. They're keeping the radials at the same air pressure. They made that adjustment last time. Right side's already on, left side's now going on. Eddie Wood, Rusty is now in as they almost complete work on the 21 car. Let's go down to Dr. Price.
And no one was happier to see this caution come out than Rusty Wallace as he now moves back down right in front of Morgan Shepherd. Didn't go forward. Rusty was not at all satisfied with that previous set of tires. You can tell he was having a lot of trouble getting to the corners. The caution comes out. They take that set of tires off, put 4 fresh good gears on, and now I'm sure he's a lot more satisfied with the handling on that Pontiac.
With another car out of the race, I think we can very safely say now that Dale Earnhardt has clinched the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship.
I think we can say that, yes.
Yep. There's no way that Rusty now can wrench the title from Dale because so many cars have crashed out of this race. So now it becomes a situation where they can race because the points are pretty much cut and dry, at least for these first two. So we now see Earnhardt go to the front. We'll be back with more from Atlanta Motor Speedway in just a moment. The cleanup continues in turn number 2, the accident involving Wally Dallenbach Jr. We welcome you back to ESPN Speed World coverage of the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Now we find that there are 9 cars officially out of the race, and that clinches the championship for Dale, Jerry.
And they're talking here, the folks from RJ Reynolds standing by, and RC, they say there are 9 cars out, and they're wanting to proclaim you the national champion for 1993.
Well, that'll be great, but you know, I don't want to do it before I know it's official, and then we'll do it.
Now, does Dale understand that there are 9 cars out, and that he could probably, if he wants to now, just cut it loose?
No, he knows it's getting close. We hadn't told him anything yet.
He's been running awfully well, though, for being conservative, quote-unquote.
Yeah, he says he's just been driving a car real careful.
Well, they have given him a thumbs up, and apparently, I'm told they are going to unfurl a banner, which is going to make your crew very, very happy.
That's great.
Take a look, guys. Officially, here in the pits, the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup Series champion for the 6th time is Dale Earnhardt, and there's a big round of applause from all the people standing around here watching that Goodwrench Chevy. And now Richard Childress is going to go over and climb on the walls. We watch Richard Childress. He is going to tell his driver that he has been officially crowned the national champion. And next time when Dale comes by, they're going to hold his sign up so he can see it and realize what he has done. And then he can cut it loose and try to win the finale here at Atlanta.
Well, the field is over on the backstretch. It's going to be a while before he comes around here, but the celebration is beginning, and I'm sure it's a celebration that's going to continue well into the night, and then all be capped off with the NASCAR Winston Cup banquet at the Waldorf Astoria the first weekend of December, and we'll, of course, have live coverage. Earnhardt is in turn number 3 now.
Now, one of the early orders of business for him after he leaves the Atlanta Motor Speedway, he and Neil Bonner are going hunting.
Yeah, that's right. Bonnet told us that yesterday. Yeah. Here comes Dale.
Signal for one more lap to go. We'll be back to green.
Richard is saying, hey, Dale, look this way. Jerry, what was the response down there?
Well, Dale Earnhardt, always a competitor, said, okay, we've got us a championship. Now let's go win one for the manufacturers. I'm going to cut it loose now. We're going to win at Atlanta and take it all home for Chevrolet.
Just had a feeling that would be his attitude.
Well, let's see if he does have something left in that Goodwrench Chevrolet.
Awfully good race cars out there today. Rusty Wallace, Jeff Gordon, Harry Gant.
Bobby Labonte is at the front of the field right now and will be the leader as we go back to green. Phil Parsons running in 2nd position, Jimmy Hensley 3rd, Elliott 4th, and Jeff Gordon 5th.
This is Harry Gant's best opportunity to get that lap back.
Yep, because I don't think Bobby Labonte made a pit stop, so he doesn't have on fresh tires. Gant does have, and that can make a difference. Let's go back to the pits and John Kernan.
Well, guys, I'm down here waiting for Wally Dallenbach to come out of the infield care center, and I sent John Gelter, who helps me out down here on pit road, to check out. 75-car fuel only. Jimmy Hensley, the 4-car fuel only. Tim Brewer told him they did a 4-tire change, but we're going to double-check that to make sure that was this last caution flag that Tim Brewer was talking about. You know, Tim kind of likes to be a little sly. And now I can get the official word. Tim was kind of pulling around a little bit, so yes, he is on older tires.
All right, 164, and the green comes out, and Gant did not get off to a particularly good start. Let's see, though, what he can do as they go into the back.
Yeah, he's going to take him, maybe not this turn, but maybe the next one, because he really got off of turn 2, gets along down on the inside of Bobby Labonte, and he'll get back in the lead lap here. How long he'll be able to stay, well, time will tell. But
and here comes Ernie Irving trying to do the same thing, the 12 car, Jimmy Spencer, all trying to get back in the lead lap.
Yeah, that's their best opportunity, as you said, when you got a car up there that doesn't have 4 fresh tires on. Halfway mark being given is to come down this time.
Earnhardt running side by side with Morgan Shepherd, Ford against Chevy here. But Jeff Gordon just ahead in another Chevy. And there's Rusty in the mix, too.
Oh, Earnhardt 3 abreast. Yep, he knows the championship is his.
Here he comes. Stand back. Well, it's been a great season for Dale Earnhardt. He had such a disappointing season last year, but turned it around and has been the dominator, if you will, in this 93 season. Never worse than second in points.
He stayed right up there all year long. Of course, Rusty Wallace wins more races, but the number of races Earnhardt won and the consistency in other races has made it.
This is for the lead, guys. This is for the lead. Earnhardt's in the lead. Bill Elliott now takes over second place from Phil Parsons, and here comes Rusty.
First time today that Earnhardt has led. First time today that he's been officially crowned champion.
Yep. John Kernan is with Wally Dallenbach, who crashed over in turn 2 a few laps ago. John?
Well, Bob, the news is good. Wally is okay, but Wally, I understand he may have had a tire going down.
Yeah, I felt the tire going down the lap before, and I moved up high to get everybody underneath me, so I just didn't make it back around, and it got away from me, and then I overcorrected it, and it went pretty straight in.
Last race for Jack Roush's team the next year with the King. Now, we were hearing some speculation about the number possibly changing back to 43. You know anything about that?
Richard's been talking about that, and that's certainly his decision, but I'll tell you what, I just want to say my relationship with Roush and Ford, Keystone and Planner has been really good, and I really appreciate everything they've done. I'm real grateful for them giving me an opportunity.
Well, Wally Dallenbach Jr. is okay. We'll see him at Daytona. And guys, I don't know. I kind of like the idea of keeping that number 43 semi-retired, you know. That's Richard Petty, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Well, he either has to bring it back or possibly lose the number.
Elliott taking the lead from Earnhardt.
Earnhardt is slipping back to second, maybe
Here
third.
comes Rusty.
Wallace now moves alongside of Earnhardt. Bill Elliott, though, is in the lead. Now, Elliott had trailed Schrader by 24 points going into this event. If points were awarded right now, he would finish 8th in the final standings. Schrader, of course, was involved in an incident and is about 33 laps down. Wallace second, Earnhardt third.
All these guys directly in front of this group, a lap down. There's Ernie a lap down. Also got Harry Gant, Jimmy Spencer, and Dick Trickle.
Yeah, a lot of cars got themselves back on the lead laps.
Here comes Rusty for the lead.
He's going to get it. He's going to get it. He's got turn 2 out of the backstretch.
Oh, here comes Elliott back. What in the world? I thought Rusty had it cleared.
Well, here he comes again.
That's a great shot, isn't it?
It is. Elliott will get credit for leading that lap. Now Earnhardt comes back and challenges Rusty for second. That's only the 9th lap that Bill Elliott has led in all of 1993.
And those guys up there in front of them are loving that racing behind them because that allows them to stay in the lead lap. Because they aren't running as fast right now, running side by side, as they would be if they were running in single file.
Oh, Rusty got a little bit loose up there in the corner, wiggled just a little bit. that allows Elliott to get a car length lead as he gets to the start-finish line.
Bill Elliott, 5 wins here in 33 career starts. He's won this event twice.
There's Mark Martin as he goes down the backstretch following the 18-car Interstate Battery Chevrolet.
He's still 1 lap down. Mark has just never been able to get that lap back that he lost earlier when he made a green flag pit stop.
Bill Elliott leads, Rusty Wallace second, and Dale Earnhardt is third. But Dale has now, because of cars dropping out of the race, has become the 93 NASCAR Winston Cup champion. ESPN Speed World is being brought to you by Allied Signals Auto Light Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. By new advanced high-tech formula Quaker State Motor Oil. It's formulated for today's high-tech engines. And by Minnens Speed Stick Deodorant and Speed Stick Antiperspirant, the #1 for movers and shakers. We welcome you back to Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Hooters 500. Dale Earnhardt has clinched the championship. There's some good racing going on, however. Here's a battle between Jarrett and Jeff Gordon, and Gordon has been dropping back recently.
Race for 6th spot. Jarrett takes it over, and here comes Michael Waltrip trying to take over the 7th spot from Jeff Gordon.
Yeah, Gordon's car is not handling as well as we saw it earlier when he was up there battling for the lead with Rusty Wallace.
Wallace, by the way, has gone back into the lead with Elliott second and Earnhardt third. Here is the battle for second position between Morgan Shepherd on the right and Earnhardt on the left.
That's third position because Bill Elliott is in second position.
You're right.
Rusty Wallace is leading, and Morgan Shepherd is now third.
And again, the big question mark right now is who's going to win the Manufacturers' Championship that is so important. Dale has already clinched the driver's title, but now he will try to lead Chevy to the victory. John Kernan is down on pit road, and another Chevy has dropped out, John.
Well, at first, a big puff of smoke from the 4 car. Jimmy Inslee has pulled it behind the wall. They thought that the motor might have blown, but right now you can see a lot of smoke coming from the left side of the engine, the right side as we're looking in. Now they're pulling off the air cleaner. They're going to remove the valve covers. Actually, they're tightening them down. You can see where some oil has actually gotten spilled out, and that's what's causing the smoke. Their oil pressure has gone way down. They're going to fire the engine out and see if just tightening the valve cover will do the trick. But we'll have to check on it and see if that was the problem and get back with you guys. Right now, it looks like they're concentrating on that. The motor is still running. It's just the oil pressure is very, very low.
Henley sits and waits, hoping to get back into competition. Rusty Wallace is the leader, and here once again, third and fourth.
And the 4 car next year is going to be driven by Sterling Marlin, they're saying, down in the garage area. He has resigned from the 8 car. And Rebecca's car, that will be driven by who, then?
Jeff Burton. Jeff Burton, that's the word. I don't think they've officially announced it yet, but that's the word that's going around the garage area.
Here's our Western Auto race summary. Rusty Wallace, the current leader, has led 71 the first 180 laps. 21 cars currently on the lead lap. We've had 11 leaders and 19 lead changes. 6 caution periods, reducing the average speed to 120.6 miles an hour. Here's a look at those who have picked up 5 bonus points for leading laps, and those, of course, do include both Earnhardt and Rusty Wallace and others. Now we take a look at those who have dropped out of the race, and this is the important list for Dale Earnhardt, because of this many cars that have dropped out of the race, he has been able to clinch at this moment NASCAR Winston Cup Championship for 93. Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standing shows Earnhardt's crew chief, Andy Petrie, on top. Steve Meal from Mark Martin's team is second, then Buddy Parent from Wallace, Frank Edwards from Ken Schrader, and Gary Dehart from Ricky Rudd's crew, the top 5 in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standing.
Andy Petrie has to be delighted to go over to Richard Childress Racing, the Goodrich car, the Chevrolet, and be their crew chief. The winning crew chief on the championship his first year there.
And didn't you have some conversation with Steve Neal today?
I talked to Steve Neal, and he's moving over to the Hendrick people. What's his title, Ned?
Director of competition or something like that.
Or Rick Hendrick, all 3 cars. And Jeff Gordon's been falling back, and I guess we've got some information from the pits. Is that right, guys?
No, you're right, Benny. I talked with Ray Evernham, who said that they didn't do a thing with the car that last stop except put 4 tires on it, but apparently the tires are not quite that consistent, and the 4 new radials they put on, Jeff said the car is just walking all over the racetrack. He said it's dog walking back and forth, up and high and low. As Morgan Shepherd slows down, and we got problems, looks like, for Shepherd.
Yes, indeed. Morgan has really slowed down, back down the backstretch. He's going to be coming in, and that is a very unfortunate set of circumstances for Morgan, who was in the top 5.
Been in the top 5 most of the day, and also in the top 5 in the point standings, only 5 points ahead of Kyle Petty going into this race.
Right. And Kyle right now is shown in 15th position. So if Morgan has to drop out here, it could be a very big break for Kyle Petty.
It looks like that here he comes off the corner between Earnhardt and Rudd. This is exited turn 4 as he comes down the front straightaway. Everything. Oh, all of a sudden something just broke in that thing. Rudd almost ran in the back of it.
Yeah, it sure did, because Morgan just slowed abruptly.
John Kernan is with Eddie Wood.
Well, Eddie, you guys had a great run going today. It looked like you might win your 2nd race here in Atlanta this year. Did the motor let go?
Yeah, he said it vibrated a little bit and just blew up. They drove a good race. I think we had a shot.
Well, these guys will leave with a smile on their face. They know that they were competitive today, and a little bit loud down here. It's kind of hard to hear these soft-spoken Southern Virginians, isn't it?
Yeah, after they get that kind of a disappointment, sometimes the voice gets a little bit low, John, and that was a big disappointment for the Wood brothers, who've been in the top 5 in the point standing just about all year long.
Yes.
And they've had a good year. Won 1 race and had some other very consistent runs.
That's the key word, consistency, that has taken them to 5th. Now, speaking of Kyle Petty, who's trying to knock him out of 5th place in the standings, he goes to the inside of Derek Cope, or tries to.
Now that Kyle has not led. Morgan did lead, so that spread went to 10 points. But with Morgan now officially out of the race, it won't take long until Kyle will move into the top 5 in the points.
This is a battle for a 13th position. Kyle has passed Derek.
Derek Cope will have a new look next year as well.
Yeah, Finger Hut will be the sponsor of his new car. He remains with Cale Yarborough, but a brand new sponsorship, Finger Hut. It will be a black and sort of a purple car. Very pretty.
What does Finger Hut do? Is that a candy
They're
bar?
a big catalog company, as far as I know.
Oh, yeah,
you would, of course, think of food.
They're a catalog company, a big one.
Hoping they'll get more handouts next year from more candy companies. But I do have good news for you, Benny, because Reese's, who of course made by Hershey's, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, they're going to be an associate on Mark Martin's car next year. So you can look forward to that.
Reese's Pieces, wasn't that movie E.T. or something? The alien like. Okay, that's a good deal.
So Kyle Petty tries to move up in the point standings, running in 13th position. As the leader of the Hooters 500 is Rusty Wallace at the end of 190 laps. ESPN wraps up its Speed World coverage of NASCAR Winston Cup racing here at the Hooters 500 today, currently being led by Rusty Wallace. But as far as the championship is concerned, there's nothing Rusty can do about it because Dale Earnhardt has already clinched the title. He's trying to put Dick Trickle a lap down here.
Yep, that's the 17th place car. Trickle was one of several cars that jumped out in front of Bobby Labonte, who was leading the race after the last caution. And they were able to take off and get up there. Now the 28 car has gone a lap down, so at Jimmy Spencer, they were 2 of the cars that had gotten.
And Gordon spins.
Up in turn what?
It looks like he's hit the left side of the car pretty good.
Turn 4 it is.
He crashed in practice in turn 4, and he has hit the wall again in that location. And yeah, there is damage to the left rear of that car. The net goes down, and Jeff begins to climb out, but it's going to bring us to our 7th caution period of the day.
And puts Harry Gant back on the lead lap. He'll be back in contention here.
Yep, you're absolutely right. So don't count Harry out of this thing yet.
And the 41 car also got a lap back. So.
Pit road is closed right now while we get the pace car out there. Jeff Gordon is moving around inside the car and appears to be okay, but Again, this is quite a disappointment for Jeff because he had, without question, a top 5 car today. May have been in contention for the win, although he had begun to drop back in the last few laps. And here's a replay.
No way to know what caused the accident to start with because we're on it right at the end. I don't think
he was running in 7th position.
Jerry, what do you got on Jeff?
Remember a minute ago, Ray Evernham told us that they did nothing to the car other than put tires on it, but Jeff said the car had gone away and was dog walking, basically wiggling up and down the racetrack, and Jeff was just fighting the steering wheel to hang on to it. All they can surmise right now is possibly something has broken up in the front of the car. The car was very unstable on the track, and Jeff was simply fighting it, and obviously he lost the fight here just a moment ago.
Well, Jeff has had a great year. We announced earlier that he has made the McDonald's All-Star team. That's worth 50 grand. He has had 7 top 5s, including 2 seconds this year, but also 11 DNFs, and that's what he will have today. Here's an in-car shot of what happened up in front of Lake Speed.
There, just running by himself, and all of a sudden the back end just goes around on him.
Yeah, there wasn't anybody close to him.
Jeff Gordon won himself a pole this year as well.
Yes, he did. Bush Clash.
I wondered who he was mad at as he walked towards that wrecker. I mean, you could tell he was just mad at somebody wanted to punch him right in the nose.
Yep.
It was himself.
Right. Yep.
Tough race. Tough race.
We realign the field again for a restart.
We have to make pit stops first, Bob.
Oh, do we?
Yeah, they've had pit road closed until they get Jeff's car out of the way up there. But
please pay attention.
Why do we have to have pit stops? Let's keep racing. Look at the crowd.
Look at the airplanes all around.
Yeah, a lot of air traffic. There's helicopters and blimps and all kinds of air vehicles.
We saw some hot air balloons go by.
Yeah.
This morning. There's another airplane. Holy, how many people?
Well, there's an airport just off the 4th turn, so that kind of explains why they're
There we go. Dale Earnhardt, 1993 Winston Cup champion.
And to set up the pit stops, here's Jerry.
And we should expect what would be routine stops. Remember, Harry Gant's crew, they finally get to pit now with the leaders because they are back on the lead lap, so they were a little bit concerned about their pit stop. They have been practicing, but Rusty Wallace will bring them down pit road. And here is the Pontiac driver. Show you 3 pit stops, 2, 11, and 3. We have a Pontiac, a Ford, and a Chevrolet. Rusty Wallace, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt. Now left side tires on Rusty Wallace's Pontiac. Likewise, service continuing up and down pit road. As you watch all 3 cars in the pits, Rusty is down and away. Great pit stop for Rusty Wallace, less than 17 seconds. There is Dale Earnhardt, 19.0. And 19.8 for Bill Elliott. He had a little bit of a problem. He still makes it back down toward turn 1.
Very close there between Wallace and Earnhardt on their pit stops. Harry Gant, is he out yet?
Yes, he's going out.
He's going, yeah, of course, he came in a little bit late.
So those on the lead lap have completed their pit stops, and now we will take a break as the field realigns for resumption of the racing. ESPN Speed World coverage this weekend with Triple Championship Weekend. It's been a great weekend of competition. We determined the ARCA champion on Friday, Tim Steele. Steve Grissom won the Busch Grand National Championship yesterday, and Dale Earnhardt has clinched the title here this afternoon. The sellout crowd has remained here despite the fact that Dale has won the championship because the race winner is very much in question. We've talked about throughout the broadcast changes for 1994. Let's move through these quickly. A Ford maybe for Rusty Wallace. Sterling Marlin goes to the 4 car. Labonte and Kellogg's number 5. Don't have a crew chief yet on the 6 car. Don't have a sponsor on Jeff Bodine's car. And Jeff Burton, we hear, moves to number 8.
All right, the second panel. Number 9 car does not have a sponsor. Talk to Harry Mellon. Ricky Rudd is going to drive number 10 with Tide as his sponsor. 11, Bill Elliott's going to be there next year with Budweiser. 12, no driver or sponsor. Number 14, John Andretti is going to drive the car. They don't have a sponsor. 15, Quality Care Ford with
late speed.
And you can erase the question mark there from beside Bill Elliott because he confirmed earlier that he's with Junior.
He did confirm that on Friday. Of course, Ted Musgrave will go to the family channel car of Jack Rouse, the number 16, Barry Dotson. Or is he going to make a move next year from the Darrell Waltrip team? And the Pontiac in the future for the car number 22. That's definite.
Yeah, you can erase that question mark, too, because they definitely did announce today they were going to Pontiac. Strickland was smoking Joe Spencer in the 27, and Ernie Irvin stays with the 28.
Now, at the 29, that is a new team. Steve Grissom going to be owned by the Gary Bechtel team, Gary and Carolyn Bechtel. Ward Burton, number 31 with Hardee's. 37, Rick Corelli, Total Petroleum. 40, looking for a sponsor. 41, looking for a driver and a sponsor. And I'm hearing that Joe Nemechek would be in that car possibly.
With Meinig Melkers as a sponsor.
Here's the rest of them. Look them over quickly. Fingerhut to the 98. Will Buddy Baker drive the 20 car? Well,
yes, he will.
Okay.
6 times next year.
And
the 55 car has a sponsor. We'll announce it in early December.
Okay. Meanwhile, we go back to racing as the green flag comes out. Rusty getting a jump on Elliott, Earnhardt, Rudd, and Jarrett. And Michael Waltrip, who is running well here today. Sixth.
Yeah, Michael was running fifth before that pit stop. Jarrett beat him out. In fact, Jarrett, I'll have to get brag on him. I've complained sometime about their pit stops. He had a 17.8-second pit stop that last time. Good, best of the year, I believe, for that team.
John Kernan has Jeff Gordon.
With a very disappointed Jeff Gordon, I might add. He has to make sure and get the sponsor hat on there. So apparently you didn't take too big of a knock in the head, but you still remember that. You're okay, though, right?
I'm not anywhere sore. I wasn't already from when I wrecked the other day. I mean, just pretty disgusting. Right now, I have no idea what happened. The car was running good. We had a set of tires that was very loose, and I was just trying to hang on till the next pit stop. I don't know if we cut a tire or what. I mean, the thing just went just like it didn't practice, so I'm pretty upset right now.
Yeah, but Rookie of the Year should take a little edge off of that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to know and I'm happy about it, but at the same time, you want to end the season on a good note. This is a good track for us with a good opportunity here today, and it's just all gone now.
Well, guys, I think if you remember correctly, last year at this very race, Jeff made his first Winston Cup start. I believe he had a tough day there, too, where crashed out of that race, too, Bob.
Well, there will be good days for Jeff Gordon ahead. You can count on that. Rusty is the leader, but the battle is for second position, and Earnhardt and Elliott are in a heated duel for it.
And this is for the championship. The manufacturer's trophy goes to the winner of this race right here. If Rusty Wallace should go on and win the race. Elliott finished second, it's a 4. Earnhardt finished the second, it's Chevrolet in 1993.
Well, Elliott won the race last year, remember, and Alan Kulwicki went on to win the championship, so maybe if Bill can finish second in this one, he can bring forward his title.
And believe me, Lee Morris is sitting in the Bill Elliott pit right now, saying, what can I do to help?
Bill Elliott started 8th. He's currently in second. He's led 7 laps of this race. His lowest position was on lap 118. That was at 12th. Dale Earnhardt started 19th. He led 2 laps. He's currently 3rd, and his lowest position has been 19th, and that was at the start of the race. But the big thing about Dale Earnhardt is that he is the champion of the 93 season.
And Herb Fischel is right in his fifth right now saying, what can I do to help?
You remember last spring when we were at Darlington and we said how important that race was to the championship? We pointed out that 6 of the last 8 winners of the Trans-South 500 in 1993, it'll be the 400 in 94, had gone on to win the Winston Cup. Who won the Trans-South 500 this year? Dale Earnhardt.
Really?
And this is the first time in the modern era that a driver's won the Winston Cup Championship and didn't win a short cut.
That's right. 12 races since the last win for Dale Earnhardt. That was at Talladega. So Rusty Wallace, there you can see that he has a rather comfortable lead right now, but behind him the battle between Elliott and Earnhardt, which is in a sense the battle for the manufacturer's title. Caution of the day is out on lap 209. Harry Gant making contact with the wall in turn 4 and slight contact with the inside wall here on the straightaway. Here's how it happened.
Here Harry Gant is, and I was looking at Harry Gant on commercial, and I'm wondering why he was back there so far. I know he made a late pit stop, but came off the corner. All of a sudden, it just went around and smacked that left wall with the left side. Jerry Punch?
Well, Benny, Harry is not a happy camper. I saw Leo Jackson, the car owner, come walking by here a minute ago shaking his head, and he was not very happy either. Apparently, there was a possible problem. Harry was getting ready to come back down pit road. He just made that lap up, and they thought they may have left some lug nuts loose. Either that, we don't want to point the finger at anyone, but either that happened, or else a wheel was working its way loose because the car was vibrating and dancing. So Harry had backed out of the throttle and was getting ready to come back down pit road. And unfortunately, he ended up about 1.5 miles from making it back to pit road in the wall. As Harry does climb out of the car, boy, he really wanted to win one here in the finale for 1993.
And his farewell season will be next year in Winston Cup competition. Let's go back to his final pit stop, and maybe we can determine something.
All right, comes to a stop. Wait, come, wait a minute now. The guy goes around to the right side, and they're tightening the lug nuts on the left front and telling Harry to go ahead.
Well, but I think this is after he had made a pit stop and he came back in the next time around.
Huh.
So apparently they did sense the problem and came back in.
In any case, Harry Gant's car is wrecked, and it's headed toward the garage area, and another car drops out of the race. The attrition, especially because of accidents, quite high here in this final event. Rusty Wallace, Elliott, Earnhardt, Rudd, and Jarrett are your top 5. A young Dale Earnhardt fan doesn't like the noise. He likes the fact that his driver has clinched the championship, but he doesn't like the noise. Let's take a look at the top 20. And before we go back to green, it's Rusty Wallace leading, followed by Bill Elliott. Earnhardt is third, then Rudd and Dale Jarrett. 6 through 10, Waltrip, Speed, Labonte, Trickle, and Musgrave. And as you look at the second 10, we will take another break during this caution period and resume our coverage in just a moment of the Hooters 500. Stay with us. They have just gone green, entering turn number 1 after receiving the green flag on lap 213 to resume the Hooters 500. 3 abreast racing behind those running up front. Here is Earnhardt making a 2 abreast with Elliott going into turn 3. They have been fighting tooth and nail for the last few laps now, and continue it as we are under green once again.
Elliott maintains that second spot.
Those 2 cars behind Rusty, Ernie Irvin and Jimmy Spencer, they're both a lap down.
They are in the 16th and 17th position. 15 cars on the lead lap.
And if you're just joining us, Dale Earnhardt has clinched the 93 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship because of the attrition that we have had here this afternoon. Riding with Lake Speed, who is currently 7th on the lead lap.
Lake Speed all set for 1994. Quality Care, sponsor on this car. .500 RPM
and 191. Wow. And down to about 153 for those long sweeping turns.
So you know why when these cars have a problem in the corner and hit the wall, why there's so much damage to them. And we can see the Lake Speed is just touching the brakes to go in the corner.
He reaches almost 200 miles an hour on the straightaway.
That's the country time car, the 68 car. I don't know if we had on the graphic, but that 68 car next year is going to be the 19 car. That's the Hooters car driven by Loy Allen. You see Mark Martin, Sterling Marlin, Derek Cope.
Almost a mess. Whoop, they checked again.
Mark is, 3 laps down now because he's made 2 green flag pit stops, and the caution come out right after he made those stops.
This is what we were talking about. Watch this.
You go in the corner, and Mark goes under Derek Cope and gets loose and goes up and almost runs in the side of the 98 car.
That was a good save. That thing was wiggling big time.
And there they are back. Going straight again. There, oh, crash coming off turn 2. Is that
Kenny Wallace?
Kenny Wallace.
The Dirt Devil Pontiac is in the wall, and another caution comes out. He's going to be able to drive it back to the pits, I believe, but you can see that there is damage in the rear end. He hit it pretty good.
I tell you what, he better be able to run the rest of the day on the gas he's got in the car, because I don't see how he's going to put any gas in it.
Oh, he smashed it in right where they would fit it into the fuel cell.
We're only 1 caution away from a race record of 10, which occurred back in 1982. This is the 9th, and this is why.
Here's the tail end of the crash.
He had already backed into the wall, slides down the back stretch, up against the wall. Then it straightens itself out.
And once again, no sponsor for the 40 car. That's your car, owned by Felix Sabatas. Said he's going to race.
I hope he does. Kenny drives it back into the garage area.
Here's a shot from our speed shot, and we can see him lose control, go up, bang the wall, and no car right behind him.
So once again, the driver involved in the accident had no other car around him.
Pit stops.
Yep. Here's Jerry.
And the Pontiac crew going to work on Rusty Wallace's car. He will get all 4 tires. A lot of activity on pit road. Earnhardt is also in. Bill Elliott, Lake Speed in the car number 15. You see Bill Elliott's Budweiser crew now working on the right side of their Ford Thunderbird. Off the jack now, and the car stalls for Rusty Wallace. He refires it now left side. Earnhardt crew working on the Goodrich Chevrolet. They complete their service, and they all head back toward turn 1.
Elliott takes over the lead. That when Rusty killed the engine just that little bit.
Looks like the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip is going to be shown as the leader.
Well, I meant the cars that made pit stop. Okay, but I'll agree that 17 is the leader.
Now they're looking underneath the Motorcraft car, Blake Speed.
Uh-oh, there's some oil.
Oh, yeah. Little leakage here.
Wow, look at that. Look at that. What is an oil? Is that an oil tank that's in the trunk of the car? Jerry Punch, what's the problem?
Apparently the seal on the rear end just snapped, and it's leaking fluid. You see it dripping out beneath the bottom of that Motorcraft Quality Care car. As they dropped the car off the jack and started to run, take the car out of pit road, something snapped and looked beneath the car, and fluid was pouring out from underneath it as they pulled it around behind the wall. And now we are walking along beside the car here as they have had a tremendous run here today. Lake Speed sitting in the car has to be frustrated to know that they've had such a good run going here. He's talking to the crew right now and still has the window up on the car. Let's try to get a comment. Lake, what happened with the car?
I think that the pinion shaft on the rear gear broke. Same thing happened to me at Charlotte.
So they're putting the car down here. They're going to try to roll him back out here and get some more work done on the car. But a tough break for the Budmore crew as they get ready to try to go back behind the wall and get some work done on the rear end.
And when he said the same thing happened to him at Charlotte, that was in his own car back in May during the Coca-Cola 600. Lake had a tremendous run going there, running in the top 5 until that did happen.
There's Nelson Crozier put his speedy right out.
Nelson is an employee of ESPN, but he's helping out down there, put down some oil dries, so it won't be slick.
He's the jack of all trades.
He sure is. Well, Darrell Waltrip did not stop on this particular caution. He stopped last caution, and therefore he is the leader. And when we go back to green, he'll lead Bill Elliott, Rusty Wallace, Ricky Rudd, and Dale Earnhardt. Atlanta Motor Speedway, located about 20 miles south of Atlanta, is the site for the final race of the year, the Hooters 500. Dale Earnhardt has already clinched the championship. We're about to go back to green after our 9th caution. Darrell Waltrip is the leader of the race, and this is the first time that he has led a lap since Dover in September 7 years ago. The crowd remains here despite the fact that the championship has been decided.
About 7 races ago.
7 races ago. Sorry.
7 years ago.
7 years?
Yeah. And watch Ernie go blowing by Darrell Waltrip, trying to get a lap back.
Another good opportunity for him. Darrell with tires that are a little bit older than the others. So.
And here comes Bill Elliott on the outside. 3 wide, and the 3 Elliott's hung on the outside. He's trying to get the lead from Darrell Waltrip.
Greg Saxon, the Country Time Lemonade mix car, and Elliott way high.
Oh, man. Wow. Sachs comes up between when Elliott says, this is not smart. I'll back out of this mess, and he did.
And Rusty Wallace takes the lead, or Darrell Waltrip's the leader. Now Rusty Wallace is trying to take the lead. Keep forgetting about Darrell.
It's been that long since he led. We shouldn't forget about him, huh?
Dick Trickle's on the move back there. He's going around Ricky Rudd.
Now Elliott's going to try this again on the outside of Waltrip. Oh, here comes Earnhardt. Elliott's car's not sticking on the bottom of the racetrack like it did going high. Earnhardt takes over that second spot.
Now
Third,
Benny.
Third. Yeah,
Rusty's first. Darrell is second. That's it. And Dale is third. Bill's fourth.
Yeah, Earnhardt takes over second.
Yes, and he's charging to the rear bumper of Rusty Wallace. He may make it 3 wide and take the lead from Rusty. Yes, he does. And 3 and sideways.
He is written.
Oh, on to save it. Oh, my God. Unbelievable. Oh, and he only lost, what, 1 spot?
Well, he's about to lose a couple more here as Dick Trickle goes by and Ricky Rudd.
And Greg Sachs is scared to death. And I don't blame him. He's scared to death.
Uh-oh. Earnhardt is again up high.
Does he have a flat?
Maybe he does. Wow.
Wow. Boy, that was a hard stopper, wasn't it?
I'm telling you now. Let's see if Earnhardt. Looks like his car is getting through the corner okay this time. Let's see what kind of damage he has on the car as he goes by. I think it's pretty severe damage. He and that 68 car made some pretty good contact up in that corner.
The battle for second involves Darrell Waltrip and Bill Elliott. And there is Dick Trickle also.
Now, Trickle was just about a lap down before a caution not long ago. He had been a lap down for a long time today, got back in the lead lap, and now is up there fighting for one of the top positions.
2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right here. Michael Waltrip back in 6th position. There is Earnhardt and Dale Jarrett.
Folks, I want you to watch this. We're going to replay. And Elliott, look at this go back. We're going to replay this. Earnhardt going in turn 3, makes it 3 abreast. Rusty backs off. Earnhardt can't get the angle he wants. Goes in, gets the car loose, and uses the 68 car as a ricochet.
I'll tell you, Greg Sachs does a great job of keeping that car off the wall.
Yep. They did make pretty hard contact down there. Oh, boy.
Meanwhile, Elliott's car is something just to mess with it. Not quite right now. As Darrell Waltrip still in the second spot. Now Rudd is trying to take it away, and here's Michael Waltrip.
And John Kernan is with Kenny Wallace.
Well, Kenny has already changed back into street clothes. The car is not going to be able to be repaired to get back out on the racetrack. What did happen?
Man, I don't know. You know, car's been pushing in the middle and loose coming off all day long. We kept loosening it up. Hut Strickland got behind me the lap before and made me real loose. I don't know. It's like I hit a patch of ice, you know. I'd like to blame it on a flat tire, but I don't know if I had that happen or not. The car just, I mean, it just spun out like right now. And, you know, in Winston Cup, you got to drive a little bit harder. You got to pull everything out because the field is so competitive, and I was trying really hard. I just lost it coming off the turn, too. That's the end of the year.
Talking about Dirt Devil leading the team, and you guys are sponsor hunting. You got anything a little bit closer?
Well, you know, we need a sponsor, and I hope somebody will come on. This is a really good team. You know, it's in our first year. We ain't got no excuses. Don't blame nothing. We're going to get a lot better. We ran competitively a lot in a lot of races, but the speedways have been our weak point this year.
That Kenny Wallace. He's out for it today and looking for a sponsor for next year as he waves goodbye.
Where did Michael Walter come from?
Well, he has been strong since his green flag drop.
Yep, he's moved to 4th.
He came out in 8th position and has moved up to 4th, as you say, Bob.
Now let's go down to Jerry Punch, who's in the Earnhardt pit. Maybe we can find out what, if anything, Dale said after that little incident up there in 4th, Jerry.
Standing by here with Andy. Andy, I know you didn't see what happened with Dale, but he did a heck of a job up there to save the car. Did he say anything after that incident up in turn 3 and 4?
Yeah, he said he must have knocked his fenders in, you know, with the door. He said the door's against the roll bar, so he thinks the fenders are knocked in. He's got the aerodynamics messed up a little bit. We'll fix it on the next stop, but I didn't really see what happened.
Well, Dale Earnhardt very lucky. Andy said they couldn't see what happened, but apparently Dale called him and said, hey, the right side door is pushed all the way in against the roll bars, and the right front fender apparently has got the car a little harder to handle in the corners now. They hope to be able to adjust it when they get a caution flag.
All right, let's sort things out here as we watch Dale Earnhardt. The leader of the race is Wallace. Dick Trickle is second, then Michael Waltrip, Ricky Rudd, Bill Elliott, and Dale Earnhardt.
Yep, that's correct.
There is Jimmy Spencer on the right of your screen, but he is not in the lead lap.
He is 1 lap down. Got involved in a wreck early in the race, but has run good since then with a beat-up race car.
Boy, Michael Waltrip is just doing a great job in his final performance of 93. He started 31st on 165th lap. He was 11th, then 5th, back to 6th, and now up to 4th. His best finish of 1993 was 8th at the second race at Martinsville. So he is looking for his best finish of the year.
And going to get married in a couple of weeks, so it'd be nice to finish the racing season on a high note.
And there's Rusty Wallace, who continues to lead the Hooters 500, but the championship has already been clinched by Dale Earnhardt. The Bud 1 airship, which has used its eye-in-the-sky camera at more than 50 events in the last year, is traveling throughout the country on a national tour, and we welcome them to Atlanta Motor Speedway. They have provided the overhead shots here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Crash.
Loy Allen has crashed up in turn 3, backed it in the fence, and comes down, and only 1 car involved. Looks like he still has the car moving.
Bobby Labonte just barely escaped being involved in that. Loy is driving the car down pit road.
Caution is out.
The 11 car was having problems as we went to break. Jerry has a report.
Apparently just a lot like what happened with Jeff Gordon. They changed tires and the car just totally went away. Mike Beam told me, said, we need to get a break and get in here to get some fresh tires on the car. We have no idea why the car has gone away. Bill is going to ride it out, and apparently they've gotten the break that they wanted. Fortunately, it says a caution flag, but someone else's misfortune. They hope to be able to pit very quickly and get some fresh rubber on the former 5-time winner here at Atlanta. Let's check it up pit road with John Kernan.
Well, I'm back in the garage area with Harry Gann, who's been checked over, and Harry, he checked out okay, but the car is kind of damaged. Now, we had speculated some problems maybe with the left rear tire or something, but it was just a bad set of tires?
Yeah, it was just, you know, we started off with a real good one, then we got some bad ones along the line there, and we got lost our lap really from a pit stop, but every time we had a good set, the chance to get back and the caution would come out, you know, well, then you change tires, then you get one good set of tires and 2 real bad sets, so yeah, we got it adjusted for the bad ones, Scotty, and came back in and got our lap back and run real strong and had it all set and back in place. But the last set of tires we got on there, they waved around like it was one flat. You know, we come back in and checked the lugs and all and went back out and still felt the same. And you just couldn't go anymore. You just like get oil under it.
Now, you wrapped up about the farewell tour for next year?
Yeah, we're all ready, you know, and days like today makes you look forward to the end next year. But, yeah, the Skull Bandit really ran good today. We're real proud of it. Hope we'll have a good season next year.
All right, thank you, Harry again.
Pit stops being made as Loy Allen's car is moved behind the wall. Dale Earnhardt is on pit road, along with Bill Elliott. Elliott to the bottom of your screen, and Earnhardt now on the bottom with Elliott on top.
I tell you, Elliott is must be making some pretty serious changes because he's going to have a lot of people beating
beat him out of the pit so we can see where that right.
Look at the donut there in front of the 3. Looks like almost a 30. That's where he had contact with, who was it?
68 car, Greg Sachs, a country time car.
Earnhardt is out.
And the 15 car is back on the racetrack.
Blake took that car behind the wall a few minutes ago, but he returns to competition, and we will return to our coverage of this event in a moment. Welcome back to Atlanta Motor Speedway and the Hooters 500, again under caution, and we have now tied the record for most cautions in this race. John Kernan is with Loy Allen.
Well, Loy, it's been a tough day for you here. First of all, you all broke a radiator. Now you've squared up the rear end of that car. What happened out there?
The car just got loose with me. We've been tightening the car up all day, and I think a lot of those people have been loose getting in. And Naturally Fresh guys did a great job. We tightened the car up, and the car started really coming around and working a lot better. It just got looser and looser, and we started to, wait for another pit stop where we could tighten the car up. But we were, trying to stay ahead of some people. And right now we're going to the school of hard knocks.
I guess that'll continue too next year, because talk about a raw rookie on the Winston Cup Tour.
And that's right. We're looking forward to it. And with Hooters, announced that last night, and we're looking forward to next year. The Naturally Fresh guys did a great job today.
Boy, Alan, I tell you what, he's making a pretty good spokesman, doesn't he? Jerry?
He does, John. Let me show you what happened here with Lake Speed. We saw his rear end problems a little bit ago, leaking some oil out. Here is what's left of the yoke and the pinion. Actually, the pinion shaft snapped off right inside here. Just snapped it off right where the yoke goes into the pinion, and that's why the car began to leak and wouldn't pull off pit road. A tough break for the Bud Moore crew. And we got this guy doing everything. He cleans up with oil dry. He holds parts. He does it all.
Nelson, you're our hero for the day.
Smile, Nelson.
You're on TV. Nelson Crozier. What a guy. Well, the lights are still on atop the pace car, so we're going to go at least another lap. There's the 66 car of Mike Wallace, who now is on pit road, and it appears as if a driver change is taking place there.
Well, what's going on there? It looks like they're still in the lead lap.
Well, Kenny, dropped out of this race because of an accident a few laps ago, and it looks as if maybe Kenny might be replacing brother Mike.
Well, there's Mike standing up there. He's okay. Now, he's quite a bit bigger than Kenny. They'll have to make some adjustments on those seatbelts if Kenny did get in it, whoever it is, but Mike Wallace is out of it.
Well, the Duron Ford goes back in competition with Kenny Wallace.
Sponsorship, too, from Avco office.
Welcome back to ESPN Speed World coverage of the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. The football games, the early ones are over. We're glad you could join us now for the end of the race. The green flag comes out here on lap 244. Rusty Wallace is the leader of the race. The championship has already been clinched by Dale Earnhardt. We have had a lot of attrition in this race, mostly due to accidents. That's one of the reasons why Dale Earnhardt has clinched the title at this point. Rusty Wallace, the leader of the race, and Dick Trickle is second, Michael Waltrip third.
Ricky Rudd was fourth. He's about to be passed by Dale Jarrett. Now, the first 4 cars did not pit here, Bob. Dale Jarrett did pit. He and Earnhardt, Elliott, and some of them back there, so we'll see how much of a difference that makes. They got about 20 laps on their tires, those that didn't pit, so that should cost them a little bit.
Mike Wallace got out of the car. His brother Kenny is in. John is with Mike.
Mike is standing back here. He's getting ready to go back and get some oxygen. Are you okay?
I'm fine. I feel terrible for getting out of the car. We had a real good car. Duron paints, the Avco furniture car. I mean, really ran well. And something happened. The truck panels are there, and I just got so hot. And we had a good car, and I didn't want to give that good run up. Kenny, unfortunately, is out of the race, and he was good enough to get in the car. And hopefully, he'll take it on, keep it on the lead lap, and we'll run well. I feel terrible for the guys, but the way it goes.
Hey, what about next year? We were talking to you the other day. You said next year. You were talking to you the other day about next year. How are things progressing now?
Well, for sure, we're going to do an entire Busch Car National program, and we are talking to some Winston Cup people, but right now I'm going to drive for Barry Owens. Duron Paint and FDP Brakes will be the sponsor in the car. And right now, we hope the Duron Paint Pontiac runs real good today. I can't believe I had to get out of the car, but hey, that's the way it goes.
That's the word from Mike Wallace. The paramedics back here wanting him to sit down and drink some cool ice water and also to breathe a little oxygen. So we'll let him go treat him. He said he wanted to go ahead and talk to us before he went and did that. So
I'm glad he did, because all of his fans now know that he is okay. Well, Dick Trickle is very impressive here. He could be on his way to a win here this afternoon.
You know, he's staying right up there with Rusty after this green flag reflew.
And Michael Waltrip is also having a very good race. He has no top fives this year. The highest running Ford is Bill Elliott, and there he is beside Jimmy Spencer.
He's about the only one, about the only Ford left that hasn't had some kind of problem today.
He made a pit stop, made some adjustments on the Budweiser Ford, so he is back up to 6th now.
And he needs to get back to 2nd place.
At least to 2nd.
Unless Michael Waltrip gets up to 2nd, then he needs to be 3rd. He needs to be
in front of a Chevrolet.
In front of the Chevrolets, that's right.
And he's got 2 of them in front of him right now.
And here he comes to challenge Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet.
In fact, he has 3 Chevrolets in front of him. He has Rudd and Jarrett and Dick Trickle.
Jarrett's having a good race. He's not out of this by any means.
There he goes by one of those Chevrolets, Ned. Elliott does. Oh, and 98 spins over the 2nd corner. Or he hit nothing yet. Look at that.
I think he hit the wall, but...
Oh, no. Contraire, he did not hit the wall, but the caution flag is out.
Yeah, it is. Again.
Well,
he's not running the wall now.
Derek was running in 12th place. One of those cars on the lead lap.
Bojangles Ford spins in turn number 2. He keeps it going, though.
He didn't hit the wall.
Okay, I thought he did. Let's see.
Here's on the outside. Rick Wilson goes underneath.
Sure, I'm going to be proven wrong here.
And he gets the car a little bit out of shape. Gets it up.
Oh, you're right, Bob. He hit the wall.
That's my first win of the year in an argument with Benny. Wouldn't you know that would come to the last race?
I didn't think he touched it.
11 caution flags today, a record for Atlanta Motor Speedway. What a race we are having, and we're only 249 laps in. Back in a moment. Cars are moving off of pit road back out onto the racetrack. Rusty Wallace has his service completed. So does Dick Trickle, Michael Waltrip. Here comes Darrell Waltrip and Jimmy Hensley back out onto the racetrack. Bill Elliott stayed out there.
Well, he and Dale Jarrett both, and Dale Earnhardt, they all pitted on the last caution. They didn't run that many laps, so they stayed out there for the track position. Figured they didn't, unless they had a problem, there was really no need for them to come in. They can't go the rest of the way from here anyway, in my opinion.
7 laps is all that's been run since the last caution flag, so... And a set of tires is $1,200, so...
Bojangles' car of Derek Cope was the reason for this caution. There's the...
See that little ding on the right rear bumper?
Yes, I do see that, Benny. What does that mean?
He touched the wall. Jerry Putz, go ahead.
We're standing in Dale Earnhardt's pits, and all these guys behind us, you never hear from them. You just see them work, and what a great job they do. But we're going to hear from them right now. David Smith, the Jackman, congratulations on the championship.
It's still hard to believe. We had a good lead coming in here, but everything had to go right, and it did. I just thank God for it. I wish my wife had been out to give her a big hug. But it's great. This team rebounded so well. Andy Petrie came in and did a terrific job. And everybody on this team, just pulled back together from a bad year last year. And we beat a tough team this year. That Rusty Wallace Penske South team, they're a great team, and we're just glad to have it.
David, of course, is the Jackman. Let's go find Will Lind and back here at Chocolate City. Some of the guys are back here. Here is Danny Lawrence, who put the engines in it along with the rest of the... Danny, congratulations on a championship. You guys did a heck of a job, made these engines bulletproof.
Thank you very much. I tell you, this thing gets harder and harder from year to year, and it's just sort of like having a big birthday or something like that. It doesn't come very often. We feel real fortunate that we've been able to pull this thing off.
Let's go over here and see if we can find possibly Danny's boss, Eddie Lanier. And Eddie, you guys have put together every year you make them stronger and stronger.
Well, we got a bunch of dedicated guys in our engine room, and everybody gives it 110% just every day, and things really look good for us this year. After last year, it's quite an improvement.
You heard Andy Petrie a little bit ago. He's the crew chief, and Will Lind, who does an outstanding job changing tires, and Will is back working on the tires. We need to try to find and see if we can find Will. And, of course, Chocolate Myers. What a job he does gassing the cars. And, in fact, we'll go back here, and we're going to show you the guys are back behind pit wall working on the tires. Here is Chocolate, and, hey, Chocolate, congratulations, man. No one hoists that can the way you do.
Thank you, thank you. I tell you, it's, you know, everybody's worked hard, and if anybody just don't know how much you appreciate this, all these other teams, you know, everybody that does this every day for a living knows how hard this is, and I mean, it's a year of your life that you dedicate and devote to this sport to do this, and it's when you pull it off like this, man, it's good.
A lot of emotion. When they unfurled the banner, I thought I saw a few moist eyes here in the pits.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. You know, like I said, it's man, it's awful hard for everybody, and to come through here and do all we do. And then, you know, and the other guys, I mean, you know, these guys deserve it too. It's not just a one-team deal. I mean, we won the thing. All these teams deserve it. I mean, it's just so hard to, you know, work every day of your life. The time we put into this to win this thing, man, it's really great.
Chocolate, I tell you, you've been a big part of this organization for a lot of time. I would like to, before we go back, to try to get Andy Petrie. Even though we spoke to Andy a minute ago, it was about a problem with the team. And if we can find Andy back over here, I'd like to get a quick comment from Andy, because he came into an organization, Andy, you came in here after being with Harry Gant, working with a close friend for a lot of years, and now it's got to be a dream come true for you.
Yeah, it really is. You know, hadn't had time to sink in yet. We're still trying to win this race, but yeah, it's really neat. It's going to really be something.
Quite an organization Richard Childers put together here, and year after year they're together. He takes good care of his people. He takes them back to New York for the banquet. They tour the city, and we're set to go back to green flag racing.
Hey, folks, in that picture that we saw just a moment ago, I want to bore you with, Joe Nemechek was standing in the number 41 pit right beside of the Goodrich pit. Does that mean anything, you reckon, man?
I would think so. Yep, indication of what's to come, huh? Yep. Ernie Irvin has gotten himself back in the lead lap. Dale Jarrett is the leader of the race. And Irvin was up in front of him on the restart and jumped out there. As we see a lot of scrambling back in the field. 3 abreast again through the 4th corner. Bill Elliott's in 2nd. Kyle Penny is 3rd. And then Dale Earnhardt is 4th. You see him coming through there. Although Phil Parsons has got up in there as well.
He just passed Bill Elliott, and now Ted Musgrave is trying to go by Elliott. Meanwhile, that's back. There comes Earnhardt. But there, see Bill Elliott. Phil Parsons passed him. Musgrave is trying to go by. He's alongside and does, well, I started to say passed him, but he didn't. Here's Earnhardt on the outside.
He's up on the
And here comes Rusty. Rusty Wallace. And Elliott is able to get back in front of Musgrave.
They're doing some serious racing back in the pack.
I mean, right now, there's only about 75 laps to go, so if this thing should go green flag the rest of the way, we're talking about just a splash of gas.
Yeah, we have a kind of an interesting situation here. Jarrett is leading the race, and then Parsons is 2nd.
How about that?
First time we've seen that this year, I think. Bill is 2nd.
How about that?
So that should move Triple into 4th, I believe. Yeah. Elliott is 3rd, Triple 4th, Musgrave 5th, then Rusty. Marlin drops back. Here comes Earnhardt and Wallace.
Well, Earnhardt must be off the pace a little bit. Earnhardt is just not running as well as he did. Rusty Wallace is passing. He's went on. And look at these guys back here trying to pass Dale Earnhardt right now. Yeah, he's off the pace. Earnhardt's definitely having problems.
Spencer goes around him, so does Cope, or at least. Yeah, maybe you were talking here, as we see Wallace coming up there, talking about Ford. Phil Parsons is still up there, and he's in a Ford, so he's still, Elliott's not the last hope they have.
That's right, he isn't.
In fact, he's gaining a little bit on Dale Jarrett right now.
I don't know what Phil and that Factory Stores of America crew did to that car on that pit stop, but it was a good move, whatever they did.
It sure was. Here's Elliott. He's running 3rd. The car just ahead of him is Bill Parsons in 2nd. That is an amazing statistic there. And Elliott's lack of leadership this year. There's Bill Parsons in the car that was originally supposed to be driven by Todd Bodine. He was injured yesterday in Grand National competition, spent the night in the hospital, has been released.
He did not come to the racetrack, though. He and Lynn went on back to North Carolina. Rusty Wallace takes over a spot from Elliott, and John Kernan has something.
Well, talking with Phil Parsons this morning, he said it was relatively easy for him to get in that 75 car yesterday afternoon in that final practice session. He had said that they had the car set up where it was pretty fast, although now it looks like he's getting passed, if I see directly, on the back straightaway by Rusty Wallace. Bill Elliott comes along, but he said the car felt really good. Now, they did not pit this last time because they knew they'd still need one more pit stop to make it the rest of the way. But Phil was hoping a good run today might help him solidify some of his plans for sponsorship for next season on the Busch Circuit and possibly even into Winston Cup.
Well, he was running well. He was in second. Now he's dropped all the way back to fourth position. Earnhardt is not up to full song, Jerry.
You're right, Bob. He is not up to full speed, and I'm with Richard Field. Richard, what is the problem?
Well, we knocked the sheet metal in on the right side and just got the aerodynamics messed. Then we lost a lot of the downforce, and the car's just real loose right now.
He lost some downforce on the right side of the car. Can't handle it in the corner, but right now we've got good action up front with a lead change.
Rusty Wallace goes to the inside of Dale Jarrett in turn 1 and takes over the lead again. Dale Jarrett led a few laps there, hoping maybe he could end the season as he began it with a victory. But right now, Rusty Wallace is back in control here in Atlanta. Rusty Wallace leads the race. He passes Mark Martin and puts him a lap down once again. But Rusty Wallace has reassumed command of this event, looking for another win here. But the championship has already been decided, as we have said several times.
Rusty Wallace and the entire Penske South crew would like to invite all the folks around Charlotte, North Carolina, December the 17th. They're having Stocks for Tots. They're having an autograph session and an auction sale going on that night at the National Guard Armory in Mooresville, North Carolina. To get in, you got to bring a toy.
That's a good deal.
You bring a toy, and you'll get in, and you'll get an autograph session. There'll be a lot of race car drivers and a lot of memorabilia to be auctioned off that night. So come on by the National Guard Armory in Mooresville, North Carolina. That's December 17th.
Sounds good. There's second place, Dale Jarrett, and third place, Bill Elliott. And so what we have here is the battle for the Manufacturers' Championship.
If a Chevrolet, Pontiac's leading it right now. Chevrolet runs second, they win the championship. They win the trophy. If Ford runs second, they win the trophy. And it's raining.
Raindrops beginning to fall.
And Elliott takes over. Here comes Rudd, and Rudd is flying right now.
And he's going to try to pass Elliott going into turn 3. They see that rain coming down, so they're going to go for everything that they have.
Rain was forecast for tomorrow, but not for today. But it has been cloudy throughout the day here and fog this morning. But now we do see some raindrops on the side of our booth up here.
And I tell you what, it's getting there. Joe Gibbs looking on, watching his driver, Dale Jarrett. Here it comes. He watches, and here comes Rudd. Closes up right on the back bumper of Elliott. Once again, for the Manufacturer's Trophy right here. These two cars.
Rudd went low. Now he looks to the high side of Elliott in turn 4. Now dips to the low side once
here he comes.
Ricky Rudd trying to take over second position from Bill.
Has to back off going in the turn. He didn't have the line that he wanted. Now he's strong coming off the turns, though. He's going to try to do it again. Can't quite do it. What a great shot from the Bud Brent.
And we understand that Elliott is pointing out that it is raining, and yeah, he probably would because he's got his Ford in second and has Ford a Manufacturers' Championship if the race were to end right now.
Now, the fastest Chevrolet in the field might be coming up on these, and that's Dick Trickle.
Yep.
He's coming back there in a hurry, but does he have time? Is it going to rain much? He's got 3 Chevrolets chasing Elliott there.
Tell you what, wouldn't it be something if Ricky Rudd was to take the championship away from Ford when he's going to drive a Ford next year?
Yes, it would.
I think both these guys kind of tiptoeing right now. There is some rain. Elliott comes off the corner high again. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace is the leader. The Miller genuine drive Pontiac, but Pontiac is too many points behind to capitalize on Wallace's win to take over the trophy. It's between Ford and Chevrolet.
Ricky Rudd has 4 top 10 finishes in the last 5 races. He's had a good second half of the year. He is 10th in the point standings right now, and so will be at the banquet on stage. Here he goes again. At the line.
He gets a nose up there. Let's see if he gets the line. No, he has to back off going into that turn. That car is going into the turn. Now he's going to dip down coming off the turn. That's where he's been strongest. And look at him now. Come up beside Elliott coming off the turn. They'll race even down the backstretch.
They are side by side, but Elliott once again has that great line going in the corner. Here comes Trickle.
Here comes Dick Trickle. He's past Dale Jarrett.
It said just a moment ago that he might be the fastest Chevrolet out there.
So Trickle is now 4th. Rudd again looks inside of Elliott. This is the second place in manufacturers battle. Cannot do it. Trickle may pass all of them.
Not good. Now Rudd's got the run off the turn, and here comes Trickle. Elliott's car pushed up a little bit in the turn, and that's all those Chevrolets needed. The way they went.
Now Dale Jarrett. He too is going to be able to pass Elliott. Or well, maybe not.
Nope. Right now. Be able to do it.
The blimp is right overhead, isn't it?
Sure is, watching these cars.
Rusty Wallace leads. You're watching 2, 3, 4, and 5 here.
I tell you what, if Rusty knew how much fun these guys were having, he'd probably back up and join them.
No,
I doubt that. There's Ernie Irvin, who is a lap down and currently being shown in 15th position. He is the first car off the lead lap. And there's Rusty Wallace, who may be on his way to another victory in the 1993 season. He leads after 274 laps of the Hooters 500. ESPN Speed World coverage of the Hooters 500 from Atlanta Motor Speedway. You're watching from high overhead and shots provided by the Bud 1 airship. Right after our coverage, coming up next, NASCAR Shop Talk, and it's a special edition involving Davey Allison. So please stay with us for that as we tribute one of the greats of NASCAR Winston Cup competition. Speed Week, unfortunately, will not be able to be presented this afternoon because we're running late. It will be on at 5 a.m. on the 22nd. So Rusty Wallace is leading this event, looking like a winner. Here's a good shot of the race control. We rarely get an opportunity to show you the NASCAR officials and the great job that they do. And while we're watching them, our hats off, our thanks for providing a good season of racing and for their cooperation to us. Bill and Brian France, Coach Les Richter, Gary Nelson, Morris Metcalf, David Hoots, Jim Bachhoven, Chip Williams, and many, many other NASCAR officials who work with us so well, and we really enjoy working with them. Gary Nelson, a former ESPN analyst, providing a little bit of a smile for us.
And Rusty Wallace is smiling.
Yep.
Every lap. I tell you what, that car has been so strong this year.
Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip, and Darrell Waltrip have been running together for many, many laps, and they are all on the same lap, battling for position 7th, 8th, and 9th right now.
And they're right behind Phil Parsons, who's currently running 6th.
Phil is gaining on Dale Jarrett, who is running 5th.
Yeah, and this group is gaining on Dale as well, I believe. So we've got a pretty interesting race here in just a second. There's Phil, and there's Dale Jarrett. So we've got 5 cars all contesting the 5th spot.
Despite the attrition and many, many top contenders either out of the race or not in contention for the win, we have seen some very good racing here today. List of cars out of race is a long one.
Still another pit stop to make before this race is over. And we mentioned the rain a little bit ago, folks. That has subsided now. We don't see any on our window here in the booth. So apparently it has stopped. Just a little bit of a sprinkle came over. Still very overcast, but no rainfall, at least in this area.
As we watch Kyle Petty, well, there's Dale Jarrett, Phil Parsons, Kyle Petty, Michael Waltrip.
Look at this. He started 41st. Had to take a provisional to get into the field. We pick up his progress on lap 220. He was 10th then. Moved to 7th, back to 8th, and now runs 7th again on lap 283.
And Harry Gant's going back on the racetrack. Does he have a point position he's trying to save or something?
Well, he's in 11th place coming into for this race.
He was only 29 behind Rudd and 59 ahead of Spencer.
Look here, Phil Parsons going by Jarrett, or trying to. And Kyle Petty trying to go as well. And here comes Mikey. And Darrell.
Yeah, the train's going to go by.
Yep. Jarrett caught to the outside.
Yeah, I think his car is pushing a little bit. That's what it looks like to me in the turns. But
Waltrip will be able to pass in turn number 1. Now Darrell Waltrip comes up alongside the winner of the Daytona 500, Dale Jarrett, and also passes him. But Dale will finish 4th in the point standing. Harry Gant is back out there.
He's going slowly around the racetrack, trying to get as many laps as he can, try to pick up another position or two. Jimmy Spencer goes by. He was involved in an accident early on. Rusty Wallace.
We mentioned earlier that Ernie Irvin has scored the most points in the last 5 races, but in the second half of the season, Rusty has scored the most points. Martin 2nd, Earnhardt 3rd, Elliott 4th, and Gant 5th. The Manufacturers Championship, there are the statistics. Ford with 10 wins and a 1-point lead over Chevrolet, Pontiac with 10 wins, and Oldsmobile with 12 points. And there is Ricky Rudd.
Currently running in 2nd spot. The winner of the race, the manufacturer, gets 9 points. The next, and look how far he's pulled ahead of Bill Elliott. Now, Elliott has passed Dick Trickle. He's back in 3rd, but he's got to get in front of that 5 car for Ford to win.
Yeah, as far as the points were concerned, it didn't really make any difference. One Chevrolet was in front of him. Well, the points are only awarded to one car.
Exactly. But it's 9 points for the winning manufacturer, 6 and 4. If Pontiac wins, they get 9. And if a Chevrolet runs 2nd, they get 6. So obviously you can see Pontiac can't win. It's between Ford and Chevrolet. 1 point separating these two. Elliott needs to catch Rudd. Or vice versa, Rudd needs to stay in front of Elliott. Yeah.
About 40 laps to go.
You see Rick Wilson in his last ride in the 44 STP Pontiac. This car will be driven by Wally Dallenbach next year. Rick's looking, and will that be 43 next year?
Maybe. There is Dick Trickle behind the 44 of Rick Wilson. Trickle has had 2 of his 12 career total top 5s here at this racetrack.
When I mentioned earlier that Richard Petty could lose that number 43 if he doesn't run it next year, I think you have a year. When you have a number, you have a year to retain it. But if you don't use it, then it just becomes available for someone else.
And I know that he doesn't want anyone else to use it, so he might as well use it himself.
Sure.
Well, that's something that we'll determine during the winter time. It'll give us something to talk about. In any case, Rusty Wallace is continuing to lead this event. And we have 38 laps to go. 38 to go. 290 complete. After Wallace, it's Rudd, Bill Elliott, Dick Trickle, and the rest of the top 10 in the Hooters 500. Bob Jenkins, Ned Jarrett, Benny Parsons, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Atlanta Motor Speedway in the Hooters 500 that is being led by Rusty Wallace. The championship was decided just past the halfway mark by Dale Earnhardt. So many cars have dropped out of this race. Here's Jerry Punch.
Well, motorsports continues to grow. More and more fans. I'm with Jeff Blauser, who is the shortstop for the National League West champion Atlanta Braves. And, Jeff, you flew all night from San Francisco to get here.
Yeah, I did. I flew out last night. I had a good friend of mine that was getting married, and I was part of the wedding, so obviously I couldn't turn that down. But I wouldn't miss this for the world. I got a chance to meet Dale Earnhardt this year, and I've just been a race fan ever since.
I'm told not only are you a race fan, you have aspirations of possibly driving someday.
Well, I can't really say I want to drive right now because I don't think the Braves would be too happy about that. But I'm always looking for big sponsors like maybe this company you work for. What do you think?
Hey, we do some Major League Baseball. We had some great games you guys had on this year with that late series with San Francisco, but congratulations on a great year.
Thank you very much.
That's Jeff Blauser from the Atlanta Braves, and I know Bobby Cox doesn't want to hear that he wants to drive a race car. Hey, let's check in from baseball to football, where John Kernan is standing by.
Well, when you say football and racing, of course, you have to say Coach Joe Gibbs, who owns Dale Jarrett's team. They're going to be pitting in a few minutes, so Coach, we'll make this very, very quick. Carolina Panthers, how interested are you in that job?
I'm happy doing what I'm doing right now. I don't need a job. I'm having enough trouble with keeping up with all this.
What about that team, though? I mean, that's going to be a good opportunity for someone, isn't it?
It's going to be great. You know, Charlotte and Carolina, getting a team like that's going to be fantastic. It's going to be super.
I know that a lot of people in Charlotte would love to see this man as the head coach, but you're just having too much fun, right?
I'm taking life right now one day at a time. I'm loving this so much. I got a tough time thinking about going back to football.
Thank you, Coach. They will be pitting for a splash and go if we don't have a caution within the next few laps, guys.
All right. There are several baseball players that are kind of rooting Dale Earnhardt to the championship. Rick Sutcliffe, Terry Pendleton, others. Nice to hear from Jeff Blauser, though.
You see Darren Walker, Dale Jarrett battling for that position. There's Phil Parsons right in front of them.
John said that Jarrett, we see his progress has made, started 29th, currently 9th, highest was 1st. His lowest was 35th. That's when he really stayed out there at the lead lap. And after he made his pit stop, he was back in the pack after that. But I'm sure that he'd like to have more than a splash of gas. I think he'd probably like to have a new set of tires. The problem this late in the race, it might not be able to afford to take on tires.
And you know, Greg Sachs is driving the Country Time Lemonade car. There he is. He and Earnhardt got together just a moment ago. He's going to drive a car number 77 next year. It's going to be sponsored by Jasper and US Air. It's going to look just like the 55 car. DK Ulrich's going to be involved in that car. Now, the 68 car, this is the TriStar Motorsports, George Bradshaw and those guys up in North Carolina. That's going to become number 19. As we see Kyle Petty come into pits, this is going to be his last pit stop. That's going to be driven by Loy Allen and will be sponsored by Hooters. It will be number 19.
Okay, now Kyle Petty is taking on tires. The mellow yellow Pontiac.
He was running in right side when he came in, and he gets right side tires only, and he's back out there.
Good pit stop. They figured they could change the right side tires as quickly as they could put in the fuel that they need to go to the end of the race.
Others on pit road. Jimmy Spencer pulls in. At the top of your screen, that's Sterling Marlin, who is being shown in the 17th position, or was before he came in.
Sterling Marlin is going to be driving the 4 car next to him, the Kodak Film Chevrolet. And Jeff Burton will be driving that 8 car, and here comes Earnhardt.
Earnhardt 10th right now. He has dropped back a little bit, but he really doesn't care because he's already won the championship. He comes in for his final pit stop of the race and for the 1993 season. The GM Goodrich crew goes to work on the right side of the car.
We see him jacking a bunch of wedge in that left rear. Evidently, the car has lost its downforce and is very, very loose for Earnhardt.
Well, Richard told us that the aerodynamics are all messed up because of the right side of the car that was damaged in the incident with
68 car, Greg Sachs.
I keep forgetting that.
So he only took on right side tires. I expect we'll see others doing a similar type situation.
There's Rusty Wallace going by Sachs. Here comes
Dale Jarrett about to come in. Yes, Prater coming down pit road right now.
Interstate Battery Chevrolet comes in. Staying below 55 miles an hour for the movement down pit road. He's right in front of John Kernan.
Dale Jarrett will pull in. They'll go right side tires. The car has developed a push, so they're going to loosen it up a little bit. There are a few teams here.
away. Don't look for them to take on tires. Mike Waltrip is about 3.5 gallons short as we see Bill Elliott also head down pit road.
And he dodged the bullet, which in this case was the tire from the Jarrett pit stop, and now Elliott slides to a halt.
And we see they're just putting gas in that car. That's the only thing they can do.
They want to win that manufacturer's title.
Yes, 8.5 seconds now. What is Ricky Rudd going to do? Here comes Ted Musgrave. They're going to change right sides on Musgrave's car.
Doing a little bit of chassis adjustment on the left. He moves out.
Guys making their last stops, changing. Elliott felt like the only thing they could do to beat the 5 car was gas only.
Here comes Dick Trickle down pit road. Dick was running in the 3rd position. No, I beg your pardon, that's a 68 car. That's Greg Sachs. Those cars have sort of right charge or something.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rusty Wallace. There goes Musgrave. As Wallace goes by, that would put Musgrave 2 laps down. If he should go by.
Musgrave has the new right side tires. They just stay out there.
Should be an advantage.
Now remember, Rusty, there were 4 cars that made a pit stop during the last caution that were up front before the caution, and so they had about 7 laps on that set of tires, so they can go as far as fuel is concerned a little bit further than like Bill Elliott, Dale Jarrett, and Dale Earnhardt, who pitted the caution before.
And here again is back behind the wall. Came out in front of Brent a few more laps, but has taken the 33 Skull Bandit behind the wall again. There's Wallace going into the corner. Dale Earnhardt is not too far ahead of Rusty. I don't know whether he'll be able to lap him or not, but they're separated by about a half straightaway.
And Musgrave and Earnhardt, who is directly in front of Rusty Wallace, are battling for position, and both have made their final pit stop. So there we see Earnhardt, and there's Musgrave.
Yep.
To go. 20 laps to go.
We understand that Wallace should be in about 2 more laps.
Yeah, that sort of adds up according to the others who have already made pit stops. And Rudd was one of those that made a pit stop when Wallace did, so
Lake Speed comes in the Quality Care Ford.
Pretty car.
Sure is. Nice design on that. And Wallace comes in right now. Jerry Punch, he's coming toward you.
What should be his final pit stop, Rusty Wallace trying to pick up his 10th win in 1993. It's coming in Atlanta Motor Speedway. Ricky Rudd also into the Tide Chevrolet. His last ride is the Rick Hendrick car. They clean the windshield, 2 on the top, 5 on the bottom. And you see Rusty fuel only, he was away. Now Rusty is headed back down pit road. And we'll watch the Ricky Rudd crew as they work on the far end of pit road. Gas only for Rudd, and likewise the car number 41, the Mannheim car in. That is Dick Trickle. He is getting fuel only. And Rudd is away, and now Trickle slams it back in gear and pulls off.
So we're now set up for the final few laps of this race.
Bill Parsons made a pit stop a moment ago for fuel only in the Factory Stores of America car.
Michael Waltrip and Darrell Waltrip still have to make pit stops.
Well, has Ricky Rudd made a pit stop?
Yes,
Ricky
Rudd just now stopped.
Okay, he was part of it. Okay.
So the Waltrips find themselves first and second right now, but they both need pit stops.
Musgrave is driven by Dale Earnhardt and taking that spot away.
There's Michael. He is officially the leader of this race. Not anymore, though. He's coming in. Drops down off the banking in turn number 4, brings the Pennzoil Pontiac slowly down pit road.
And I'm sure this will be gas only.
He's having one of his best races of 1993. He sees the pit ahead of him. He stops. They go for fuel only and a chassis adjustment, but not much of a chassis adjustment. 4.3 seconds of fuel, and Michael pulls back out onto the pit road and eventually the racetrack. Rusty Wallace has lapped Dale Earnhardt.
Now, fans, if you wonder how the manufacturer's battle is going after Bill Elliott and Ricky Rudd made their pit stops, Rudd is out in front of Elliott pretty far, so he has a pretty decent lead on him right now.
Rusty Wallace appears on his way to victory. He has led most of the laps and will pick up the 5 bonus points for that category, but it's all for naught because he will not win the championship. There is the leader of the race at the moment, but again, Darrell Waltrip will have to have a pit stop before very long, and when he does come in for the stop, the lead will go back to Rusty Wallace. Hooters 500 at Atlanta Motor Speedway. We've only got a few more laps to go, and for those of you tuning in for Shop Talk, stay with us because that program will be brought to you in its entirety at the conclusion of our race. Darrell Waltrip is the leader at the moment. Perhaps I was a little early in saying that he will have to come in for a fuel stop. John?
Well, we're standing by with Barry Dodson, the crew chief, and Barry, you guys are going to roll the dice.
Well, we're rolling them. It's going to be a wash. We've had to slow down to get the mileage, and Rusty's sketching us. You know, we'll just do the best we can. We're catching caution. It can work out for us, but we were beat kind of the way we were going. And we'll probably be in here. I tell you what, it's sucking that thing dry right now.
I tell you what, though, you've seen Darrell do this before. Even when he was a competitor, you see him get great gas mileage.
Yeah, we do. We work at that. We're working hard. We're getting better right now. The year's over. We can't do anything about that. The good thing is it starts right up again.
So I guess he's watching the fuel pressure gauge. If it fluctuates, he comes in.
10 more.
That's the word from Barry Dodson, guys.
We'll wait and see whether he has to stop, but for the moment, he continues to be the leader.
Ken Musgrave, the Jasper US Air car, has driven by Darrell Waltrip.
And now if Waltrip can win the race, he will take the manufacturer's championship for Chevy.
I think Rusty's going to catch Darrell one way or the other.
There's only 10 laps to go.
I know, but he's getting on about 2 seconds a lap. So Rusty's going to catch Darrell, I believe, and they are in the lead lap.
The average speed of the race is 124.2.
There's another car that hasn't stopped, the 22 car. Bobby Labonte has not stopped either.
But he's back, what, about 8th position.
He's running 8th position, but
there's Stevie Waltrip watching her husband lead. Yeah, there's Rusty. He is closing in on Darrell, that's for sure. Now with 9 laps to go in the Hooters 500 in the 93 season. Another Fram Field summary for you. Cars on the lead lap.
This will probably be the last time you'll see this year.
Yep.
Ernie Irvin, just 1 lap down. Those guys have done a great job in that 28 car today.
Yep. Crashed earlier, but he's still only 1 lap down.
Okay, 8 laps to go, and Rusty Wallace, there's Darrell right in front of him. So he is going to catch him.
Yep, he will catch him.
But and the 22 car is just pitted.
Yep.
Bobby Labonte, the Maxwell House Ford, has made a pit stop, so Darrell Waltrip is the only car that has not been in the pits.
Well, that's going a long way on tank fuel. I think he pitted on like lap 250, so that's 78 laps. That is a long way. Without restrictor plates. On a restrictor plate track, of course, they get better mileage. But
meanwhile, there he is, 7 laps to go, and Rusty is closing.
Now within just a few car lengths of Darrell Waltrip. Darrell trying to salvage a win out of this season to keep his string going. But Rusty now is approaching rapidly as 322 laps have been completed, and we've got 6 to go.
Darrell looks up in that rearview mirror and sees Rusty coming. He knows that he's not going to win this race.
I think he pressed the accelerator just a little bit harder when he saw Rusty Wallace.
Trying to draft on Kyle Petty there now and get as much advantage as he can. But not going to help enough.
comes Rusty now to the outside of Darrell Waltrip, which will also have to be the outside of
Rusty!
Wow.
Got that car out of shape on the outside up there. Wow.
About to buy the farm there. He was about to throw this whole race away right there. Well, he clears Kyle Petty, and now we'll have another shot at Darrell Waltrip for the win.
4 laps to go.
Still got to pass Darrell. If Darrell should go on and finish.
There's the completion of lap 324. 4 to go. Rusty's going to try, or at least he's looking toward the inside this time instead of the outside.
And Darrell, he gets Darrell loose.
And Waltrip almost crashes. But Rusty Wallace does take the lead and now is up front once again.
Now, can Darrell hang on to second? Can he stay out there? I think he can do that. He's okay. Ricky Rudd is running in 3rd place. But if he doesn't run out of fuel, he should be able to hang on to second.
There's 3 laps to go, and I tell you what, Ricky Rudd is gaining dramatically on Rusty. He's going to run out of time. He's not going to have time to catch him, but Rudd is flying.
Yes, he is. It would appear as if the Manufacturers' Championship is going to go to Chevy, because even if Waltrip runs out of fuel, Rudd is the key player here.
2 to go. 2 laps.
Rusty Wallace came into this race his 300th NASCAR Winston Cup career start. If Waltrip can hang on, this will be his best finish in 1993. And he has some momentum going into the 94 season. Wallace now in turn number 4, coming off looking for the white flag. Here it is, 1 lap to go for Rusty Wallace, and he'll win the Hooters 500. And do what he had to do, and that is win the race, lead the most laps, collect all the points possible. Unfortunately, it didn't work out, though, for Rusty in terms of the championship, because Dale Earnhardt is going to win that.
And Darrell Waltrip is out of gas.
He's out of gas now.
He's out of fuel.
And Ricky Rudd will pass him before he gets back.
He came within a half lap of finishing the race. There is Darrell Waltrip. Ricky Rudd goes by him. He takes 2nd position. Rusty Wallace comes off the corner, takes the checkered flag, and wins the Hooters 500. And the celebration in the Miller Genuine Draft Pit. Rusty Wallace wins his 10th Winston Cup event of 1993 and the 31st of his career, but there is also celebration in the GM Goodwrench Richard Childress Dale Earnhardt pit, as Earnhardt has won the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup Championship. He wins it at 42 years of age. Richard Petty continued to compete for 17 years after winning his 6th title. Imagine how many championships Dale could achieve if he continues to race until the year 2010, which is 17 years from now.
Now, are both these guys going to do victory laps? Here comes Billy Wilburn with a flag for Rusty. 28 flag.
It carries the 28
and look
Davey
here.
Allison.
And look, Earnhardt has the 7th flag.
All right, that's neat.
A fitting tribute to the 2 tremendous race drivers that we lost this year, Alan Kowicki and Davey Allison. You can stay here as we watch this final half lap in the Polish victory lap that Alan Kowicki was so famous for. His flag is being carried by Dale Earnhardt, the champion. Davey Allison's flag is being carried by the winner of the race, Rusty Wallace. The crowd is cheering and waving in happiness, but you know that in many eyes there are tears. A tremendous roar from the crowd gathered here on the main straightaway, even overpowering the engine noise as Wallace and Earnhardt complete their backwards lap around Atlanta Motor Speedway and officially end the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup season.
What a season it's been.
Rusty Wallace will be turning left into victory lane. Dale Earnhardt will stop here on the starting line to receive the congratulations on winning the NASCAR Winston Cup for 1993. Dr. Jerry Punch is with the champion.
And they are here to congratulate Dale Earnhardt. It's an emotional time around the car. Jim Schreier here, the executive vice president of RJ Reynolds, was the first one in the car as Dale tries to get unhooked, and they will hand him a hat that says 1993 Winston Cup National Champion. For the 6th time, Dale Earnhardt is trying to get unhooked here so he can talk to us. He's reaching around trying to get some of the switches unhooked and get a nice cold drink. A big smile from the 6-time national champion. Grabs the sunglasses, grabs the hat, tries to get a deep breath. Dale, congratulations on an outstanding effort. You're the champion for the 6th time.
Unbelievable. You know, got to thank this crew. The good Lord looked after us all year, and the crew did a great job. I just can't say enough about them. We got to going for it after we had it locked up, and I got in trouble and got loose and got in the sack and knocked the side on the car. It really hurt the aerodynamics, but you know, we had a shot, I think, at running with them, you know, being one of the contenders. But that's racing, and we'll take the championship.
Dale, has to be especially rewarding and an emotional championship given the loss of 2 colleagues this year. What a tribute for Alan Kulwicki and Davey Allison.
Well, that's true. It brings cold chills over when you think about them. And Alan was a great champion, and we honor him and honor him well. I hate what happened, and wish we had him here, but you know, we'll honor him and have good thoughts of him.
Moisture coming from the eye of a champion, thinking about his departed friends Kulwicki and Davey Allison. Let's go to victory lane with John Kernan.
Well, Rusty Wallace is just finishing up his radio interview, and Rusty, it cannot be said that you did not try and do everything you could possibly do today.
Well, I told everybody when I came in here, I'm just going to have to throw everything at them that I can. And I did, but I'll tell you what, I'm just so proud of all these guys. 10 wins. Boy, we're really happy. I'd like to congratulate Dale Earnhardt for a fine victory. He did a really great job. And it's just a wonderful year for us. And we're remembering Davey Allison and Alan Kulwicki today still. But just like to thank Miller Janio Draft, Mobile, AC, Pontiac, everybody. It's been a great victory, and I'm really happy to get the year over with now.
Well, Rusty Wallace, good victory lane, Bob. And they will be a team to be reckoned with, of course, next year after winning 10 this season.
Don Miller moves in with Rusty Wallace and offers his congratulations. ESPN Speed World being brought to you by Allied Signals. Brand filters you can pay a little now or a lot later. By Budweiser, fresh, pure, natural, proud to be your bud. And by the new Norelco razors, our closest shave ever. The top 20 in the points after a great, or the results here, after a great race and a fitting tribute and end of the season in NASCAR Winston Cup competition. There are the point standings.
See, Bill Elliott, Kenny Schrader, Ricky Rudd will be on the stage in New York. Harry Gant missed it.
Jeff Gordon finishing 14th and Sterling Marlin 15th, and there is a completion of the top 20. Well, perhaps no other year in racing have we seen as much emotion as we have in 1993. Every emotion imaginable. We must never forget those who have been taken from us this year. But we'll also remember the good times and the heroes who have emerged from the 1993 NASCAR Winston Cup season. So the crowd begins to move away from Atlanta Motor Speedway as the celebration is still going on.
I think they're all moving down there where the celebration's going on, Bob, or a lot of them certainly are. They want to get a glimpse of the 1993 champion. Dale Earnhardt getting congratulations by everybody who can get to him.
That was Richard Childress' wife, Judy, I think, that just gave him a hug.
Well, Ricky Rudd finishes in second position and wins Chevrolet, the manufacturer's title. Darrell Waltrip third, Bill Elliott fourth, and Dick Trickle fifth. And 6th through 10th, Michael Waltrip, Dale Jarrett, Ted Musgrave, Phil Parsons, and champion Dale Earnhardt finishes 10th.
Best run of the year for Michael Waltrip, Kyle Petty, Ernie Irvins, Bobby Labonte, good run for him. Terry Labonte 14th, and Mike Wallace did finish 15th.
Had a good run here today, 16th through 20th. Spencer, Marlin, Marcus with a good run today, finishing the top 20, and Derek Cope and Mark Martin coming home 20th.
21st, Bobby Hamilton, Hutch Strickland, Rick Wilson, Greg Sachs, and Jimmy Hensley in the 4-car after all his problems finished 25th.
In 26th position was Lake Speed. Ken Schrader had a tough weekend. He finishes in 27th position. Harry Gant 28th, Loy Allen Jr. 29th, and Kenny Wallace, another one of those involved in an accident, finishes in 30th.
And there you see Jeff Gordon down in 31st. Morgan Shepherd, after a good run early, falling out with engine problems and dropped to 7th in the points. Wally Dallenbach, T.W. Taylor, and Rick Pirelli.
Rich Bickle finishes 36th, then Rick Mast, Jimmy Horton, and the final two, Bobby Hillen and Neil Bonnet, who really didn't complete very many laps today. They took that car out of the race early so as to make it easier for Dale Earnhardt to win the championship. But it was pretty easy for him today, and now he celebrates his 6th NASCAR Winston Cup championship. Shop Talk is coming up next, a tribute to Davey Allison. That will be coming up next, and it will be seen in its entirety.
Very special year this year, Bob. I've enjoyed it. Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Jerry and John down the pits, Ned and Benny up here. The 93 season is over. For a while, we will celebrate with his champion Dale Earnhardt, but only for a while, because the 94 season is only 14 weeks ahead, when we will have other races and we will have other heroes. Thank you, our race fans, for staying with us and enjoying our telecast. It's been our pleasure. For now, this is Bob Jenkins on behalf of Ned, Benny, John, and Jerry. So long, everyone.